We are back.
Oh, this is nice here.
Out of a possible 28 games of Rocket League yesterday, it took just 15 to decide the 4 teams challenging for qualifier number 6 champions. Team Mobula are steaming their way to a 3rd win and are yet to drop a game this qualifier. Limitless hope to be the obstacle in their road, but not before Astronic and 77 Blocks have had their say in the matter. So, for the very last time this season, I'm Greybeard and here with the Bromeo, Dumacht, and Pyro J on the desk.
It's good to be here.
Let's go.
Come on, final time. I'm so excited and so sad at the same time, though.
Mixed feelings for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just excited to be here. It's last Sunday. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. So, let's talk about... I thought we should take a moment to reflect a little bit on the season that's been. And first and foremost, let's talk about what is the reason for the season. It has been a tumultuous season and very layered. I mean, it feels to me like our first 2 seasons in the RLCS have been very binary. It's kind of like yes, no, up, down. The rules were clear. The teams that were going to win were clear. It was quite predictable. So much has changed this season, and emotions quite naturally are running very high in terms of we feel good, we feel bad, we're angry, we're upset, we're okay, and I know my own feelings have fluctuated almost daily about it. However, we have gained a lot, and in all the noise, it is important that we don't lose sight of what we have gained this season. And I, Bromeo, Pyro, Macht, we've had lots of conversations in the green room about it, in private, and so much has been said. So in the light of gratitude and being grateful for all the things we have, let's take a moment to look at what this season has brought us. And I'll start with you, Bromeo. For you, what have we gained from this crazy season?
Well, in the beginning of the season, to start off, it was very, very difficult to see what this season would bring us. So much adaptation needed to occur, but after having some time to sit on it, look at replays, look at the stats, I feel like that is the key. Adaptation. Our local teams have adapted to all of the external forces that have imposed themselves on this region, and just seeing players that have been here for a long time forced to get better and get better, they did. And seeing up-and-coming players rise to meet that challenge has also been so equally good. There's been a raise in standard this season that, from the casual viewer, is even noticeable. And for me, that is the biggest point.
And then Pyro and Machter, the two of you come from the 2 OG regions of Rocket League. And the two of you have been quite familiar with your respective regions and to some degree with the other. and you have both been pretty much involved with this region from our start in RLCS. So from your perspectives as quote unquote outsiders or people external to the region, your thoughts and feelings on it.
I'll take it away, sure. If we want to start with my home base of NA, everyone was looking at new teams like the Young Whippersnappers making main event and the new blood, and that's really caught my eye this season with SSA, are the Rising Stars. Romeo, you were just touching on it, and I just want to expand there. We had Tishao, who was 13 years old at the beginning of this split, now in this main event, getting their first Swiss wins. Gold Ninja on the same team, proving that they can be the same top caliber. A couple regionals ago, we had Strudek in their first top 8, who's been working for that for years in this region of SSA since the very first regional in 2021. It's been great to see the Rising Stars. We see that every season, but I feel like that's what's been highlighted. Even in the frustration and the confusion of the season, there have been people that have just reached above and beyond their expectation.
But they also, in that reaching above and beyond, they also had to sort of fight against conquistadores and other imports coming mainly from my home turf, coming down mainly from Europe. And that led to a lot of arguments, a lot of controversy, a bit of drama, and all the good things. But most importantly, it lended the eye and it opened SSA to the eyes of the world. How many times have we been talked about on the socials, on Chalkcast, on First Touch, on everyone had something to say about SSA, and for right or wrong reasons, we are here what we are because of this rule change. We are as prevalent because of the controversy, and that's not one part to be underestimated. And still, the level has risen, and that is, I think, the one thing that we can take away from this is be like, yes, it's been dramatic, but as a result, the locals got grinding. Limitless got better. Limitless got challenged. Snakes then got better. Everyone's level just improved and improved because they were forced to play against more seasoned opposition and against better players.
Now, whether it's a hot take or not, I do believe that overall, all things considered, this has been a net positive for us. Absolutely, there are things that should be evolved, shaped, and changed for the next season. However, I think we have gained a lot, and we cannot lose sight of that as we look forward to the future. And for me, all the points, the youngsters, the eyes on the region, and we've had more help from more people than ever before, more org representation. And that is a very, very good thing. So there we go. That's been a reason for the season. And I do look to future seasons of RLCS with a lot of optimism. Now, gentlemen, yesterday I asked the question about you. Who are your top 3 players for the season? And now you've got to give me one and a brief justification on why, for you, that player is the player of the season. And we'll go down the line, starting at the end with you, Macht.
For me, we have to talk about the entire season, and as interesting as someone from Mobula might be, they've only been here one split. So for me, it was a very, very simple affair. The new king of SSA, it's no longer Snowy. I think he has relinquished his place to one of his teammates to die for me, absolutely vital in Limitless' success. He's evolved his own play, and every time, and even at Copenhagen, I think To Die For was the most influential player on Limitless' side. He's been influential online, offline. For me, To Die For is the new king of SSA.
To Die For gets a vote.
Hey, you know what? I agree and disagree with Macht. For me, To Die For, I expect him to be the king. But to be the star of the season, for me, you have to have the wow factor. You have to defy expectations. For me, that player is Sweaty. Joining Limitless, I would argue Sweaty had the most pressure out of any player in this region to perform, to be on the top team, to make Limitless that number one. and he has performed. He came in as a top average scorer on French class at the end of the last season. He is not the top scorer here. Bromeo, I know you got stats on yours. Sweaty isn't the top stats on goals, assists, saves, none of that. But when he's called to action, he makes the play. He turned Limitless from a sometimes mechanical team to an always mechanical team. And I've been really impressed by Sweaty the whole way through the season. He gets my vote.
All right, Sweaty gets.
Well, my point of view, and I explained this yesterday, and I'm going to do it again here now, is that my star for the season is based on the player who doesn't necessarily get the recognition for the amount of work that they do and for the improvement that they've shown this season. It's very easy to say to Die For or Sweaty. They're remarkably good players on a remarkably good team. So the spotlight is always on them. And Ram, I've mentioned his name before. I'm going to mention it again now. He has shown such a marked improvement just this year that he's completely turned the tables for Snake's Den. You know, with Eliakim and Wordy, who are incredibly good players, Eliakim has had mixed results, but Ram has allowed him to play his natural game. Ram has changed the way he plays in small differences. I mean, I did a complete stats breakdown on between first split, second, so on and so forth. But it's these small changes that he made for such a big impact. And Ram, who's been in the scene for such a long time, to make these changes now just show what a quality player he is. And for those reasons and more, Ram has to be mine.
To Die For, Sweaty, Ram, and there are two other people on the desk, and I want to get there. They're going to be casting our first semi-final, Pyro and Ultrazim, and I'd like to get from them their player of the season. So hopefully they're still there. They are excellent stuff. So
I'm Pyro now.
Did I say Pyro? Oh my word, Q! I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I do got to reiterate a couple points that we have already heard. I'm actually also going to have to go with Die For, though, a player who has always kind of been known for being able to really put up some big plays on the offensive end. I think because Limitless has been put to the test, we've really also gotten to see how strong To Die For is on the defensive end, and especially when transitioning from defense into offense for that squad as well. I just think overall, like, play as well as improvement over the season, it's got to be To Die For me.
Yeah, I was actually going to go for To Die For the whole way. I mean, he's pretty much been my vote for the standard player of the game for most of the driver of the day. But I did have to give, and this is probably going to be a little controversial, so please, people, don't hate me. But VK Salen, there's a reason why Mobula has been doing so well throughout the year. And I think VK as a leader has really given his team a lot of guidance in this. But also just his ability to make individual plays coming through there. You're busy shying away on the edge of the screen there. Thanks for just putting me out on the island. But I think some level of respect has to be given to a player who's able to turn the tide like he does. I mean, his breakaway plays, you see him, he's able to take it on his own backboard, take it down the wings with such pace and put pressure on opponents in a way that very few other people do. And I think that the fact that he's given people something to think about, he's been willing to chat to the local guys. And so on and off the pitch, there's something to be said about a person who comes here and goes, right, these are the things you guys need to work on. And we've been talking about the SSA has made such leaps and bounds throughout the year. I think a lot of it has to come to the inspiration that they've been given on what they really need to do. So hate me if you will, but VK deserves a shout out.
All right, so Ultrazim goes for VK with a little bit of extra justification. Then I'll close it out with mine, and I'm picking Werty for a very important reason from my perspective. Is not just his on-field performance. He's one of the OGs, and he's been there with Snake's Den, and he season after season he is there and thereabouts. But for me, he has been for a top SSA pro, his level of professionalism on the pitch, but also off the pitch, his interactions on social media, his interactions with other players and the scene in general has been immaculate. And for me, head and shoulders above any of the top SSA pros in the region. And I've loved how he has represented us in that regard. And for that reason, I pick Werty. So there you go. That's the talent pick. And now we're going to open it up to your vote. Now, you're not going to get to pick from everybody. You have to pick from who the talent is picked. So there we go. To Die For, Werty, Sweaty, VK, Salin, or Ram. Out of those 5 in chat, the mod vote is open, the poll is open, I beg your pardon. And for the next 10 minutes, you vote for who you think should be the player of the season out of the talent picks. And we'll announce that at the just before the next semi-final. But let's get on to today. We've got 2 semi-finals and a grand final to determine qualifier number 6 champions. 4 teams remain. 3 of them are EU, 1 is SSA. So let's have a quick look at the bracket for the day and our schedule of what's to come. And out of all the brackets you have seen throughout this weekend, that is the most simple you will have seen. 4 teams. First up, Limitless versus 77 Blocks. Next semi-final, Team Mobula versus Astronic Skill Quest. And the winner of those 2 series will go into the grand final. Everything, of course, is best of 7. First up, Limitless, 77 Blocks. Now, we generally speaking, is this a foregone conclusion, Macht? Or are there some nuances in this matchup?
I mean, anything can always happen. Limitless have been upset before by Drift Queens, and 77 Blocks have now just beaten their trauma of finally making a top 4 placement for the first time. So I feel like there's a bit of untapped potential here in 77 Blocks, but I think it would be absurd to go in and not say that Limitless are the favorites going in. They've beaten 77 Blocks twice when they played against each other. It was always a 3-1 affair, so for me, the favored role, or the role of the favorite, is very, very much in Limitless's court.
Pyro, what interests me is we see Limitless's win rate, 79% versus 58%. But previously, it is very seldom that we have seen Limitless below 90% when it comes to win rate. Things have changed. It's not all as predictable as it used to be. There's an air of uncertainty now.
Uncertainty is a really interesting word because I want to work on that and I want to shift that narrative to true certainty for Limitless. When I talked to Snowy in the interview yesterday, they made 2 0-second goals in their quarterfinals match to push them in the lead. And I asked him what makes them so dangerous in those clutch situations. And Snowy just says determination. We're determined to win today, this event. We know in our minds that we can, and we just do. And to me, there's a new clutch factor to Limitless this event. They have in their minds that they can and they will win. And to me, that honestly, that mindset is what puts them ahead for me today.
Alrighty. And then Bromeo, I mean, there's a whole bunch of numbers on the screen now. I know that gets you very excited. So what stands out for you? Your thoughts on where this, your overall feelings about this first semi-final?
I really appreciate the numbers, and for good reason, because they show how teams differ, because everybody at this level can score a cracking goal, but it's how they do it which is important. And we've seen Twinzer, Energizer, and Twister for 77 Blocks come out and honestly play a different style of Rocket League than the rest of us are used to. And for that reason, I really appreciate their play. However, Limitless just has the pedigree behind them. They play a very consistent brand of Rocket League that's very hard to defeat. And the stats say that Limitless will win 3 for every 1 of 77 Blocks. And I think that speaks to how it's pretty much going to go today.
And then predictions. And I know, Bromeo, you're rocking and rolling right now with... I think you're on top of the table. If I'm not mistaken?
Last time I checked, I think I was doing pretty okay.
Okay, Bromeo. And when was the last time you checked? 3 minutes ago?
I check all the time. It's a stats table. It's permanently open, but it's been going pretty well. But that's also to say that it's incredibly close. As always, there's only a 5-point separator between all of us, except for you, Greybeard.
Well, I am living proof that leading with your heart does not. Nice guys do not finish first.
Well, it just statistically, it just means that the distance from brain to heart is about 5 points in length.
All right, good. Guys, we got a minute to go. We're about to kick off. Let's rock and roll. Bromeo, your prediction. Who wins scoreline?
Limitless takes it 4 games to maybe 1.
4-1. That's a fairly dominating win. Pyro?
All on up 'em, I'm going 4-0 for Limitless. 77 blocks achieved against teams who cannot defend against the counterattack. Limitless are pretty solid on that. I think they've got this one in the bag.
Macht, I thought 4-1 was a fairly ambitious scoreline. 4-0 for Pyro. Is it going to be that much of a cakewalk, or is there room for 77 blocks to win?
I mean, 77 blocks is an incredibly awkward team to play against. I think Limitless has got it figured out, so I think Limitless will win, but I'm going to give 2 to 77 blocks. Their counterattacks are just that good. Energizer on the counter is just that good.
92% of the chat agree with the desk. 8% are going for 77 blocks. I do believe Limitless will win, and I do believe I'm feeling confident that my heart and the data will match up, will line up for once in our lives. So we've had a 4-0 sweep, we've had a 4-1, we've had a 4-2. Why not? It might as well go 7. So we've got the entire complement. But this is it, semi-final number 1 in the final regional for the SSA 2025 season. Limitless, 77 blocks, and they're off.
As Greybeard says, we kick off the Championship Sunday with 77 blocks versus Limitless. The last time one of these teams is going to take the stage here in SSA for the year. And despite what the panel seems to say, this could turn out to be a much closer series than a lot of people expect. 77 blocks, known for their defensive prowess and their ability to absorb pressure. Limitless, the team who specialized over the years in building that pressure. And your boy Q, I don't know about you, but I am not expecting this to be a sweep either way.
No, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I'm expecting fireworks here, but I do think it's going to be up to Limitless to make sure that they try and finish things quick. I feel like if you get it done in 5 or 6, it favors Limitless. If it goes to a 7th, I feel like that means 77 blocks have proved to themselves that they can stand toe-to-toe with one of the best that SSA has to offer, import or not. It's going to be up to Limitless here to really try and put their foot down in game number 1. They've been able to get a little bit of pressure. I think for them, they got to strike first.
They've got to strike first, and they're certainly trying. They've had a couple of really good shots, really good looks at the net so far. But 77 blocks doing what they do, as you like to say, and absorbing all that pressure. Still, we'll see if the home turf advantage gives them that edge that they need. They've certainly got the crowd behind them with that 92% backing. But right now, still poking, prodding, trying to find their way around. A little bit of a bump on the back line puts them under a bit of pressure. Snowy has to get up to this and force it out towards the corner.
Have to die for right now, trying to get an extra touch and move this thing up. It's going to be passed back here to Twister. Going to be up in the sky, getting contested there by Sweaty. Going to be able to win the 50, but his Energizer with a shot on the target. To die for, going to be able to get the save. Still unable to get the clear. It's been 77 blocks, a team that's known for their defense, who's actually doing a fantastic job asserting themselves on the offensive end. It's Twins are here. That's a pass towards the middle. That could be dangerous. Up in the sky here now, it's going to be Twister looking to try and make a play under Snowy, but Snowy sends that thing towards midfield.
To die for on a bit of a breakaway now meets and locks horns with Twinzo on the sidewall, reinforced by Sweaty to keep it in the presence in the corner here. Snowy pushed it onto the wall. Decent pass backwards, gives to die for a bit of space. But he's going to still have to resort to Sweaty, trying to pop it out there. Snowy's up for a good shot. It's going to bounce across the goals. Twister takes care of that handedly, though, and going to reinforce another attempt to try and get it out there. To die for has got a bit of space. Doesn't get a great touch as he tries to put it towards the center. Snowy, the rest of Limitless, though, doing a great job of keeping it here and hereabouts. Bit of a retreat down to their side to give it back to die for. The pass comes across there. Snowy's got a shot, and he's going to find us our first goal.
And that's how you start things off. And I even said at the top, to be able to really flip the field, to die for has been one who's been leading the charge for Limitless. The pass up to Snowy, and that's going to get banged on home. It took him a little bit of time, but we're about halfway through game number 1 here in Limitless. Going to have the first lead. It's going to be to die for off of the draw. Going to at least move things forward a little bit. Second touch. Going to be centering things towards the middle of the field. Requires a little bit of attention. or Snowy's going to be able to meet things here. And you figure for Limitless, you got yourself your first point on the board. Now, you'd like to find yourself a second, continuing to do what they've done on defense, which is really doing a fantastic job holding off the attack from the 77 block squad.
Meeting with good confident 50s, but that's a ball free in front of the net. The ball just taken advantage of by Twister to dive forward, trying to muscle it out. But the pace there and Snowy's extra little touch pops it up and gives a free goal away. Limitless's lead is short-lived in our first game of the semifinals, and suddenly 2 minutes. It took 2.5 for our first goal and just 30 seconds for the reply.
Hey, yeah, SSA, I'm gonna have to say my bad on that one, big dogs. The caster curse sometimes truly is strong, but all tied up here now with 2 minutes left, and it's gonna be up to the boys in blue. They've now had a response back to their first initial goal. Can they find a response to that? It's to die for. Out of the corner, gonna be able to win the 50 with Twinzer. Snowy already up in the sky. To dive for with the fake, Sweaty with the shot, but that's going to sail high, and now they're going to have to retreat back to the defense. A quick counterattack, and Energizer punches it home. 77 blocks up by 1.
And this is the thing about 77 blocks. If you engage too fast and too vigorously, their counterattack is lethal. The pass down from Twister, Energizer waiting for it in the midfield, gets the redirect, and while Snowy managed to make some good yards to get back, just not able to pick up that transitionary play. And 77 blocks, they took the first blood against them and hammer back twice as hard. Still Limitless, they got to carry forward. Snowy got to find it high off the backboard. Sweaty coming in slowly, takes the bit of mechanics to try and push it up there. It's actually going to be Energizer reinforcing from the side there, but he's giving the ball away. A shot from the side. Sweaty, he's going to be able to finish it off. Limitless not going to be staying on the back foot for too long.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When we first saw Sweaty kind of hezzy coming in from the midfield line, especially with the fact they're waiting for the respawn, I think, behind him, didn't want to push forward too quick. I thought they had lost kind of the momentum on this push into the zone, but instead they continue pushing forward, walking it down the field. Now we're all tied up at 2. 72 seconds here left in game number 1, and it's going to be 77 blocks trying to walk this thing on down. Energizer had themselves a nice shot, but getting shut down as well, and it's going to be up to Limitless, trying to find some way to break this thing out of the zone and flip the pitch.
Snowy catches it well, but has to settle for a 50 afterwards. A cheeky little slider underneath gives to die for the breakaway up the right-hand side. 77 blocks and not giving any space. First time the ball's transitioned past that halfway line a little bit. Sweaty going to keep up that momentum. They've sensed a little bit of a change in the tempo right now. But again, they've got to worry about how much they can do against 77 blocks. A great pass towards the center. Snowy coming off the wall, takes a shot. And Limitless, they've been really good on the offense for the majority of this play. Giving away a ball like this, going to put them in the final 20 seconds with work to do.
They got to find some way to slow down things here because everyone's pushed forward into this blue half to die for, trying to get it past one. Energizer's moving forward. It seems like Energizer's been doing a really good job of leading the charge as far as on the offensive end. Has 5 shots here for 77 blocks. 3 seconds left on the clock. You got to try and find some way to... No, don't put this one down. Snowy might have a chance on the opposite side, trying to get the read off of Energizer. Ball hits the ground, and we're going overtime in game number 1.
Told you this is not going to be a sweep one way or the other. The team so far deadlocked and the ball getting tussled with in the middle. Yeah, a bit of a breakaway again. A chance for a redirect to dive for with the pre-jump. Adjusts at the last second to make the save. And Sweaty now wants to pick up the pace. He's going to carry it through. A late touch sends to dive for scurrying around. 2 players now engaging from 77 blocks and working well together. But with everyone pushed up now, Energizer 0 boost to work with. Has to pull this out of his back wall despite the pressure to die for. Gets the pop towards the center. Sweaty with 2 touches, trying to put it down towards a waiting Snowy. And Snowy just going to keep this going. Here is Limitless building the pressure that they do so well. And eventually Sweaty going to have to reclaim the Snowy charging down there. Energizer with a big pinch to send it down to the blue half. But still not dealing succinctly enough with what Limitless is bringing to the fore.
I gotta say, I'm really liking the gameplay we're seeing from Energizer today from 77 blocks. That last defensive stint down, it wasn't anything fancy, but you did slow down the pressure from Limitless to allow everyone else to rotate back after the double commit onto offense, and then able to kind of keep things away from the goal as well. But now it's going to be up to the Limitless to try and find a way out of their side, because 77 blocks has been doing a good job of once they do push into their offensive third, they have been spending a decent amount of time down here. It's going to be Energizer trying to get this thing away from Sweaty. Isn't going to be able to do so. Now it's going to be Snowy trying to chase him down, trying to get the control of the ball around the midfield line. And you can see a big fight right around that middle part of the pitch. I mean, no team getting control.
That's a big thing, hey? Q, is that no team is really getting the control. There's been such good work from both of them to be able to restrict it before the shot comes in, but that shot just only managing to get turned aside by the smallest inch. It took 2 players to do that, so Limitless going to feel confident that they're coming in here with aggression once more. Backward save, but it doesn't get the ball out far enough to die for, finishes it off, and Limitless going to take game number 1.
I think the big thing you realize as soon as Twinzer wasn't able to get a big touch there, to die for was trailing on the backside, waiting for the rebound or where that ball went. And that's something that they do oh so well when they're pushing up the field. And Limitless, despite getting tested in game number 1, will take game number 1. And I think the big thing when you look here on the stat line, 15 shots from Limitless, really doing a good job of pressuring the net.
Yep, while 77 blocks with their 11 shots is still showing that they had life and they had their own opportunities, it did feel like that game was largely in the control of Limitless. They got a couple of saves only just where they got denied, whereas the rest of it was really using the width of the field well, passing back and forth. When it came to their defensive line, they looked solid for most of it, cutting out those passes in the midfield, making these good early challenges, and that's some credit to be given to Limitless. They've been forced into this new style of play, but they've adapted to it so quickly, and then being able to find good backboard reads, the individual mechanics of the players being flex. Sweaty did such a good job there at the end to carry that ball out with the flip reset. So in majority, I don't think that Limitless is going to be unhappy with that, even though it was just a single goal in overtime.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of actually surprised that the tally as far as shots over on that 77 block side did reach up to the double digits, because I'd have to agree with you. It felt like Limitless was doing a really good job controlling the pitch, controlling the possession. The one thing that I was a little worried about was at times when 77 blocks did get into the offensive third, it took a little while for Limitless to kind of relieve that pressure from there. And that's when you see some teams finding susceptibility when it comes to open shots on the net. Kind of like we almost had an opportunity up there, but it was to die for with a good read, a good pinch to send things to the opposite side. And we're off to things in game number 2.
To die for, as so many of the desk said, it was considered by many as the player of the season. And you can see why. He's so good when it comes to the offense. He pops a ball out like this, and then he's always there to do the work on the back line. He's been reliable, non-stop. He's going to take a shot here, but turned aside by Twinzer. It gives Twister a bit of a breakaway. Snowy quickly up to the challenge, but a second shot coming in over the top is going to find its mark. Twinzer sends home the opening salvo here for 77 blocks, despite 2 players at home for Limitless.
And that's going to be big here as far as for 77 blocks. You just lost in overtime here, so to be able to jump back in on hit the pitch in game number 2, you find yourself the lace and the lead. That's going to be big. Can they protect it is going to be the next question, because in game number 1, the first goal that was scored, it was 77 blocks who was able to find themselves a relatively quick response, and it's Limitless looking to try and do something similar here. It's Twinzer in the corner, going to be able to at least send things up toward the midfield line, gets met by Sweaty, but that essentially just ends up as a center for Twister. Shot on target, that finds the lace, and they're going to be up by 2.
Such a good place from Twinzer there to be able to take it off the wall. He sees 2 players scurrying backwards, and even with the 50 afterwards, you know that you've now got the man advantage to be able to come in afterwards, just get a loose ball towards the center. A second goal sent home from 77 blocks. So while Limitless took their offensive, that proactive nature in the first game, they've been rather restricted here, trying with Sweaty to set off a series of events that lead to some sort of comeback. They're once more forced back onto the blue side, and a bit of a optimistic jump there from Snowy, snatching at this ball, but getting a decent dribble off the back end of it means that they're going to have a look now.
90 seconds gone in game number 2, and 77 blocks still going to be up by 2. Now re-entering into that offensive half. Twins are going to have to rotate back. Twister trying to put a little bit of pressure along that midfield line with the 50. Able to win that. Puts it up towards the midfield side where to die for. Able to read this. Keeps the control for Limitless as well, but that ball getting a little bit too far away. Now you got Sweaty jumping and kind of losing track of things. The wide open net of Twister can get the control. 1 touch, second touch down, and it's going to be a save from Snowy. Able to retreat back onto the defensive end.
never looks comfortable when you see an opponent uncontested for that backboard touch, and doing a good job to at least be able to assuage that blood as it stands right now, but still no reply coming out from Limitless. 77 blocks once more takes a possession game, but a weak pinch means that To Die For going to take it high. He's got two members right behind him. A nice twist under the air with that flip reset, pops out towards the center. Sweaty trying optimistically. They forced a bit of consternation in the back line of 77 blocks. Ball once more going to come towards the center, and Energizer has to get a weak touch out. Limitless keep their composure. They go for the slower play with Snowy carrying that one. Doesn't manage to come out far enough, but Limitless looking a lot more healthy in the second half.
Looking healthy and confident, but they've got to make sure that they can get back to the defense as well. Everyone was committed forward. There's going to be an opportunity there that they're not going to be able to dial up, and now it's that counterattack led by who? To Die For, of course, for Limitless, doing such a good job flipping the pitch. But quickly back into their side. Here is 77 blocks. A chance for a shot from Twinzer, but that's not going to find its mark. Twister on the opposite side, though, taken to the sky, looking for the double top off the backboard after the dribble. And while it was fancy, I'll give you an A for effort. Not going to be able to find his success on the pitch itself. And now it's Limitless looking for their first of the match and not going to be able to find it.
You could see the respect forced out of Limitless there. They sent two players up there, realizing he still had full control. And I think 77 blocks going to be sad that they didn't come out with anything there, but they managed to buy more time. They're burning down the clock. Every second counts as we're headed towards the last 90 seconds. Good transition towards the center. Snowy with a high shot there. Sweaty still waiting in the center. Gonna put one more, and the demo comes through to open up the goal line. Limitless with a counter attack. Just whenever they get going, they seem to push and prod until eventually there's something that 77 blocks is not accounting for.
To Die For, known for the shots, of course, the defense, yeah, but the demos, let's go, opening up the net there and cutting this lead in half. But Limitless now have to worry about a quick attack coming into their zone here from Twinzer. Goes off the backboard, Energizer with a touch at least to keep things alive. Remember, they scored themselves one. They still have to find another one here in the next 62 seconds. Otherwise, it's all for naught. It's Energizer up in the sky looking for a potential pitch off the sidewall. Sweaty wins the 50. Snowy up in the sky, but gets shut down by Twinzer.
A counter-attack now coming out from 77 blocks, but Limitless cutting rotations well to be able to stop that at the midfield line. Have bought themselves the time, and they keep going with these passes to an aerial teammate who's making great connections. And so far, Limitless reading the ball so well as a unit, being able to get those passages around the opponent team. A great way for them to find a way back, but find a way. They've only got 30 seconds to do it. Another pass comes towards the center. Sweaty has to get back to it. There's a bit of an open goal here. Pass once more, and it connects. This Limitless cohesion has been sublime.
And the boys in blue are back, able to find the passing play. Looks so smooth. It's going to be 2-2 here, 19 seconds left, and this could be one of those wins for Limitless that could really suffocate the opposition. The last second goal to be able to potentially force overtime. Maybe even one more goal here before the clock strikes zero. With Sweaty sending things up into that orange half of the pitch. Snowy on the sidewall with a bunch of boosts to try and make something work. It's a pass to Die For. To Die For with the shot, but not enough oomph. But now a potential counterattack for 77 blocks. It ain't over till it's over, and now it's overtime.
Oh, Limitless. You always seem to tease us there with those last second goals. If there's anything to be said about SSA teams, is that their tenacity will fight out until after the buzzer. So you always have to give them respect. 77 blocks. They got denied. Wow. The 2-0. And Limitless, they fought so long, but it only takes 11 seconds of overtime. The passing plays and a little bit of a miss on the backboard from Snowy gave Twinzer the shot that he needed to. And 77 blocks managed to level up the series.
A very unusual mistake from one of the vets here in SSA, especially for one of the Titans here, for the Limitless squad that it's usually known for being able to pull off those overtime wins like we just saw. And I think if you watch Limitless, if you've been around for a while, I think it's a little bit of good news and bad news, right? The bad news is, unfortunately, Limitless lost the game and they're not going to be able to pull off the sweep here. But if you know Limitless any way that I know them, when they lose, they take it personal and they're going to come out for vengeance in game 3.
Oh, yes. That is probably the most well-known trademark of Limitless, is that they do not take well to being put down by a game, especially this early in the series. And so you can see that they're still having the majority of the shots. They're still doing a good job on defense most of the time, we can say, as that clip goes there. But I mean, this team is certainly looking like a team that's got the fire behind them, but also tempering that just a little bit to be able to get the awareness that I don't have to do this all on my own. You know, they're not a team that's going to fall into that typical aspect of I need to carry my squad. They're still looking for the good passes, and that's been such a key game point for them right now to be able to do as well as they have.
Do gotta say, the one thing I do have a little concerns of is we're on Championship Sunday here, Alton. As much as Limitless in the past have been very consistent on Championship Sunday, hasn't necessarily been the case as of late. So if 77 blocks can find some way here in game number 3 to come out and withhold that charge forward we're used to seeing from the boys in blue, that's when some of that frustration, some of that doubt might start creeping into the back of the mind. So game number 3 going to be big here.
Yeah, no one likes to be restricted when you put in all the work to get that close to a goal and it gets turned aside time after time. We'll have to see how Limitless is able to deal with that. And 77 blocks has looked so good this weekend. Probably the best showing that they've had at the Rlcs here in SSA up until now. Now they've got a bit of a breakaway. They're constantly making this threat of a counter-attack a prevalent factor in the Limitless mind. And still, we go back to game number 3, leveled up series. The clash in the midfield continues. Sweaty going to slow it down, and also someone who's had a well-deserved part in that player of the tournament. He's going to get the goal to secure it. The 1-2 play off to die for here, sliding it around Twinza to die for, faking out their opponents. And that, if nothing else, is a good sign towards their mentality.
Yeah, I love the fake play there to get the second defender up in the air. But you do got to tip your hat to Twinzer. Almost pulled off enough to get the double save there, which should have been huge on the momentum for 77 blocks. So I think despite the fact that it's an early goal, you got to give them a little bit of credit on the defensive side, and that's something that they probably won't hang their heads too much on here. But the 1-goal lead for Limitless will be big. We were just talking about how important this game 3 could be for the squad. So to be able to put yourself in the driver's seat early, it's going to be important. That's going to be a pass towards the middle of the field. Nice slowdown from Energizer to be able to line that thing on up. Now it's going to be 77 blocks, keeping the pressure down on this blue half.
They are doing well at it. It's a great clear from To Die For, sends it deep into the far corner of their opponents, and they're carrying on with that momentum. But 77 blocks showing that they are ready to take this fight and return the salvo just as quickly. Bit of a dribble coming out there from Twinza, cut off by Sweaty. He's got To Die For in this corner waiting. To Die For decides to give him the space, let him cook, and Snowy going to be joining the chef school here. To Die For. It's been such a good change up in pace here from Limitless consistently. They know when to utilize those mechanics, and when they've got a space in the center, Sweaty playing that third man constantly is able to constantly bring back that next wave of an assault. To Die For pops down towards a setter. Sweaty had no momentum behind her, but To Die For says, don't worry, I'll give you another one. Instead, this time relying on Snowy to get involved in the play. He's managed to beat out 2. He's got Twister in the corner. The 50 pops out there. To Die For just doesn't manage to get on time, but look at the relentless onslaught being offered here by Limitless.
Yeah, Limitless's rotations have been on point. That pressure being so far up to the third back, not going much farther back than that midfield line there, which has allowed them to be relentless in the zone. Snowy's going to clean that thing on up. That's too easy. And the boys in blue now up by 2.
That was, 90 seconds of them never leaving this half, and eventually a demo in the center by Snowy just means that 77 blocks. We're going to poke, we're going to tease you out into that corner, and eventually there's going to be an overlap that we can exploit. Limitless go up by 2. It's been half the game. They need to be aware that they nearly reversed this on the counter side in the previous match, but it's certainly looking like they've got the composure, the understanding of the game, as To Die For off the ceiling has the flip, gets the pass. He held that for so long, and there was nothing 77 blocks could do in answer.
Oh, we see you, To Die For. Okay, able to hold that thing till literally the last second, passing it off, and all you have to do at that point is just simply tap it in. And we had talked about, how notorious this Limitless squad is. When they take an L, they come out with vengeance, and they've done so thus far. Snowy was looking for the double tap. I thought to die for, going to be able to drop that thing on home. And Limitless now up by 4.
Man, retribution, the name of the game here for Limitless. They are picking apart whatever 77 blocks, the most renowned defensive side in the league, has been able to manage to fathom at this stage. And now it's really just a happy coincidence that the score line, what so many of the people on the panel described would be the final score of the series. But work to do. The big question for 77 blocks is right now not whether they can get back into this game, but whether they can just stop the hemorrhaging of goals that Limitless is forcing upon them.
I mean, as much as I would normally say it ain't over till it's over, I have to agree with you right now, Ult. You got to find some way to stop the bleeding, and Sweaty and company going to move this thing forward, flick forward as well. And I thought Snowy was already bearing down in the middle lane and should have been able to follow that up. A little bit of hesitation still allows them to keep the control nonetheless. Sweaty a pass off that side while potentially looking for a center. Not going to be able to find it. Snowy says, I'll take those cookies. Shot on the target, but it's Twister with the save.
Twister with the save, but that seems to be all 77 blocks is able to put on right now, is save after save. A little bit of a team bump finally gives Energizer a path towards the goals. The ball down, but it's still once more denied out by Limitless, containing that clean sweep. But it is 77 blocks finally managing to break away and get down to the side. But like we said, Q, almost academic at this stage.
It's been an absolute clinic here in game number 3, and for these last 40 seconds, you just would like to play keep away. Do not give 77 blocks anything to build off of heading into game number 4, because you mentioned the 4-goal lead way too far gone, especially at this point. 10-second rule, that was gone 10 seconds ago. Now at this point, you would like to maybe even find a 5th. See if you can find some way, like a constrictor almost, to continue to just squeeze and try and suck the life on out of the opposition. 77 blocks trying to do the same thing in the offensive zone, but getting shut down.
Oh, and they are going to find the 5th. Just insult to injury right now. A little bit of salt in the wounds as Limitless show that they're not just here to win. They are here to win with confidence. Leave no question in mind that they are the ambassadors for SSA. And this is going to send cheers ricketing through this SSA region. The chat going wild right now. Everyone appreciating what the best of SSA, of the local teams, has to offer.
Boys seem to have that swagger back, and it's now going to be 5-0. Not the official score. Twins are going to be able to at least get one. The cosmetic change, I'm not exactly remembering the big word that Mock used. I'm not that smart whenever he talks about the end of game goals. It is an extra one, though. At least gives them something to build on.
Gives them something to build on. But I mean, even that, at the end of the game, almost feels like Limitless just happy to put down the sword at that stage and carry on going, right, we've won this. We're going on to game number 4 in the lead and with a convincing lead. The shot tally still in the favor of the Limitless side. 77 blocks, still putting up a respectable 8, but rarely, if ever, did those look like they had any venom behind them.
Yeah, it's another one of those situations where I really don't remember them getting that many shots, if we're being perfectly honest. So it felt like that was all Limitless's game. I mean, maybe some things to at least be positive about if you're a 77 blocks fan, is you were only 2 shots away, so you're able to get some sort of this same sort of pressure onto the net. But it hasn't been the same efficiency, especially in that last game for Limitless there. I mean, they were just able to find so many opportunities. The passing plays also coming up, which is something that I think has been a big change from this Limitless squad over the course of this year. Not so much relying on just being absolutely mechanically better than the opposition. When they see that they're in that sort of motion is when they're at their best. And when you know that it's Championship Sunday, meaning that even if they win this series, they still have one more to play, you'd love to see them warming up the right way.
And that is something that we typically talk about when it comes to Limitless, is the fact that they are a slow starting team against most oppositions. They, especially in a 7-game series, you're going game number 1 is not nearly a true reflection of it, but they held that off for game number 2. Instead, the rest of it, and as the series goes on, seem to be getting better and better. And Q, you made the point that they want to try and finish this off out as as quickly as possible. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Obviously, if they continue at this sort of pacing, then they are going to be able to finish it off nice and succinctly. But I mean, at this stage, 77 blocks really, even by the end of that game, seemed to have very little recompense for what Limitless was offering.
Oh, we're used to seeing Limitless be able to bounce back after their first loss. The question is, can 77 blocks bounce back after a big loss? Because I'll be honest, that was a thumping, man. So they got to find some way to turn up the heat, turn up the noise, turn up the funk. Because if Limitless are given the space that they were given in that last game, and especially if their confidence continues to soar at the rate that it's been so far today, I don't know if 77 blocks really has a chance on getting themselves even a second game. But here early on, putting pressure in the zone, trying to see if they can get this thing up over. Snowy off the bounce, not going to be able to do so. And the Limitless D coming up big.
And this is a big thing. You say that Limitless has certainly had a little bit of space. 77 blocks has had nothing. They have been contested constantly, and by a quicker opposition, it has to be said. Limitless just seemed to come off better in any of these 50s. Sweaty getting a little bit more efficiency than his opponents. Twister having to do so much work, even with the help of his teammate there, and yet the ball still falls in towards our blue half. Sweaty gets a decent 50 towards the center. It's the first time that 77 blocks has been able to get really a chance to come up here, but it's still nowhere close to the goal. It's being met at every challenge. To Die For now has beaten 2 already. He's going to get demolished on that charge, but Sweaty immediately reinforces and takes over the role and going to look for something out the corner. And To Die For now back into the foray, into the ball, popping out towards the center, and there's still no jump coming out from the 77 blocks. The fake over the top there. It's going to bounce off the back line. Sweaty going to take a shot, but everyone is pushed up too far. 77 blocks now with the counter attack, and it's going to bounce harmlessly off the side post.
You know, we're seeing some whiffs coming out from 77 blocks, more so on the defensive end than the offense. That makes me think that they're starting to feel a little bit of the pressure here, starting to feel the sense of how important game number 4 is. And with 2 minutes gone by, haven't really had too many good looks towards the net, and Limitless has had a couple of scary opportunities. Now it's going to be To Die For off of that back wall, met by Twinzer at the 50-yard line. Now going to get a second touch to try and center things up. Nobody there to really get anything big. Maybe if you're Twister, at least a pass over to Energizer to slow things on down, but that just lands right on the hood of Snowy.
Oh.
A quick counterattack. To Die For with the shot, but Twinzer with the save.
Still good to see that they are linking together, whether it's on the aggressive play or just to get it out from their own half. And look at the cohesion, the communication going, okay, I know I've got a teammate behind me, so I don't need to try and make an optimistic challenge at that stage and get myself further out of position. 77 blocks have been doing too much work right now. They've been able to constrict Limitless for too long, and they seem to have as much tenacity in their back pocket as their opponents do. They took that last game, and eventually a loose ball towards the center gives Limitless something to think about.
A miss from To Die For there, a very unusual whiff, especially right in front of the net, as much as we've been talking about their defense heading into things here today. And that's going to give 77 blocks a 1-goal lead. And now with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, for them, they're going to have a little bit of confidence, but they have to worry about a quick response coming in from Limitless. It's going to be the sidewall for Energizer. Has one right on his tail, so unable to keep the control of the ball. Snowy trying to put things over. Twister not going to be able to do so, but it does allow Sweaty to get the control around midfield. I think leaving this off for To Die For. Yeah, he is, baby, and we're all tied up at 1.
Again, this Limitless side, and normally led by To Die For, their innovation, the adaptation, but Sweaty starts the carry and then boosts past the ball, realizing he's got a man in the center. He's not going to be able to get the hard enough touch to get it down to Die For, but he can make damn sure that his opponents aren't going to have one, and they managed to level it up. Game number 4, a minute and a half just over to get going now as we carry on with these two teams deadlocked, and would once more break away into a bit of a midfield tussle. So far, 77 blocks, making the yards that they need to, but it's up to Sweaty. He's trying to find a teammate. The connection is there once more to Die For the backboard. Sweaty doesn't want to continue into that because it was too little, but it has at least got the possession going, and you can see the chase now from 77 blocks. Even with themselves forced into the back line, they're still looking down towards the other side of the field. Twister's in an opportunistic position, but he still doesn't manage to have the momentum behind him to win out that 50.
No, but he does keep the pressure enough where they can get the control back in their defensive half. And for 77 blocks, a quick reset now, trying to push on down into the offensive side. A quick visit, though, thanks to the fact that Snowy pushes this forward, forced Limitless. And it's going to be Sweaty up in the air, loses that 50 to die for, needing to make a play to send it towards the side. Able to do that, but it's a quick pass down towards the middle. Twins are a little bit of a whiff for Rooney. That's unfortunate because that could have been the opportunity that 77 blocks were looking for.
We really think each of these teams only going to have one real good shot at the net from now into Dimefall. Going to start it off from the midfield. Well dealt with by Energizer. But a great pop out from Snowy. And Sweaty, he's going to pick up on that every single time. It is just the argument of the counterattacks. The story is Snowy cutting through there, even with the awareness to check up on Energizer on that back wall. Clears it through once more. Limitless in the final 30 seconds. Always ready to put in another.
As much as we've been talking about the Dive Force, Sweaty did get mentioned as well at the top of the show, and starting to show through why, making the improvements, keeping the pressure to Dive for. Okay, young man, that's filthy. Put it on a highlight reel as Limitless going to go up by 2.
Well, you know what? We said that they weren't really relying on the individual players, but Tadai4 never one to leave it in that standpoint. He knows that he's got his teammates behind him, but so often do we get to see this youngster take everything upon himself and create magic whenever the opportunity gives it to himself. And gonna slot in one more. You know what? 1-1, considering that was what, 27 seconds ago? 1-1 was the scoreline. Now, Limitless go, you know what? No, we are taking this as handedly as possible. And the insult remounts itself upon 77 blocks.
To die for hitting him with the kablamo whammo combo, able to get the demo, then able to punch that thing on home, and it's a hat trick here for the young man in game number 4 for 77 blocks, trying to see if they can find themselves a late goal once more, something to try and build upon, something of a building block within itself, because things have been tough thus far, and yeah, they had themselves the 1 win. That's all they've got through 4, and Limitless gonna put themselves on a series point.
Man, considering how this series started at almost what seemed like a deadlock, so much of this was tight the whole way through, and yet by the end of it, Limitless somehow finding themselves already on series point, looking ahead to that grand finals, once more dominating in terms of shots. And it seems like as the series going on, 77 blocks restricted more and more, only 4 from them right now, and utilizing that 1 assist to be able to pick up their only goal. And look at the saves, only a single one forced out of Limitless.
I mean, when you only got, 4 shots on target from 77 blocks, you're not going to be needing that many saves. It's one of those games where Limitless has proved that a good offense truly is a good defense. It's kept 77 blocks out of their back half. Instead of those first couple where it was back and forth, they've slowly figured out ways to grab the bull by the horn here. And now in these last 2 games have absolutely dominated the control of the field, it feels like. And now for 77 blocks, you can't help but wonder what's going on in the conversation here heading into game number 5, because they've got to find some way to completely 180 and get back to some of what we saw in those first 2 games, but even better.
I'm surprised that they're not actually taking a timeout right now. At least we haven't gotten any sign of it, because you are doing something very wrong, or at least Limitless is doing something that you have no answers to at this stage. So having that time to just sit back and regather your thoughts and go, we are on our last legs. One more game is going to send us out of this competition. We've got to have an answer. And they did so well again for the first half of that previous match. But the last minutes, it seems to be when Limitless, when they pushed against the corner, they come out swinging with accuracy, with deadly precision, and almost baiting their opponents into a false sense of security. We go into game number 5 now, and arguably for Limitless, it could be, or they would want it to be, the final game of the series.
Yeah, you don't want to give any sort of games from here on out, because we talked about, or at least I said towards the top, that if it's going to end for Limitless, 5 or 6 is how it needs to get done. You definitely, at this point, now that you got yourself on a series point, the more games you give them, the more momentum they can build, and Energizer is just going to keep going and going like the Energizer Bunny, continuing to push down the field. A beautiful pass from Twinzer. That's just a play that will at least give 77 blocks the lead for now.
It really is. And 77 blocks has looked good in the first 30 seconds. That was 2 good passes, 2 opportunities that they didn't manage the first one. Second one came through with a plum. And Limitless now has to again fight back, but maybe this is just the inspiration that they need as they start peppering the goals. Snowy going to get turned aside by Twinza. Twinza against the wall, not with a lot of boost, is going to at least pick up that midfield. So going to be able to stick around, and yeah, goes for the bumps, goes for the demo, takes out Sweaty, ball drops harmlessly in the center, and no one left alive in position from Limitless to put this towards the side.
And thanks to Twinzer there in the demo, you have one up in the air. Sweaty gets back just in time to be able to sit there and watch it go across the goal line. 77 blocks have now put themselves in the lead here by 2, and you know, a factor that I feel like we often talk about when we see teams having to find some quick turnaround, it's being aggressive with the bumps and the demos. That's helped them get a couple. A nice kickoff play here gets them a third.
Wow, big turnaround from 77 blocks, restricted, and now they picked up more goals in the first minute than they did in the previous 2 games combined. So a real sign that they are ready to fight back. And Limitless, they've been able to put in 4 goals apiece for the last 2 games. Now they're going to need to do a similar task as Sweaty still forced backwards in his rotations to try and get this ball. Sweaty now finally getting a bit of a breakaway, dealt with succinctly by Energizer in the corner, still meets up with a Limitless player in the center to die for, going to take the shot, handled with a palmer by Twinza. 77 blocks looking like a much more settled team than previously.
They definitely seem like it's almost like they got the timeout buff here without taking a timeout. I don't know how to explain it. It's like all of a sudden we're working a little bit of a different sort of program here. We've got a different game plan, but you know what? The game plan for Limitless is just be better, and to die for, great at that. That's going to be a beautiful hookup from Snowy as well from distance, and Limitless have their first goal in game number 5.
You know what? If it's not broken, don't fix it. The passing play once more. And those two, the longest standing teammates in the SSA region, know exactly what's happening when one of them goes up. The communication's out there and still taking it so high to be able to keep it out of reach. But 2 goals still left to do. Another link-up play. Sweaty's going to take a banger of a shot and dealt with to die for. Also going to have his own opportunity. 77 blocks having to make some heroics. Snowy puts it up high and he doesn't even need the backboard. He's going to loft it through there. But the original onslaught of those first 2 fireballs is all that it takes to roast the side. And you can see 77 blocks with desperation in their eyes, all triple committing at the end there, and it still wasn't enough.
Bro, everybody's up in the air, and nobody was able to take a sniff at that ball. That was a wide open net, and Limitless now are only down by 1. A quick pair of responses here, and still plenty of time left to play. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to die for. Has a chance at it. The flick of the wrist, that's going to find the woodwork, followed up by Snowy. Bang, and we're all tied up at 3.
Well, we said Limitless does not take kindly to being pushed backwards, and they have come through now, unchecked, 3 in a row, and linking up as a squad with something to prove here. They have managed to level it up after just over a minute and a half since 77 blocks asked of them. And now there really seems to be all the momentum going for Limitless. You had your opportunity. You built the lead, the best lead that you could have ever asked for in that first minute. Now Limitless really in the driver's seat. 77 blocks trying to muster something here together. Twister denied out. Sweaty going to pop it down towards a scattered back line, and the best Twinza can do is take it into the corner, pops out towards the center. Twister has to try and push it over the 2 ambitious players from Limitless, and they're going to set it up once more. The passes start coming together. To die for, though, unable to complete it, but Limitless have the pressure.
Limitless have the pressure for now, but it's Twister trying to relieve some of that, getting past the midfield line. A second touch to keep the offensive prowess alive here for 77 blocks. Everyone already rotated on back. Twins are going to have to try and follow it up as the center towards the middle of the field, but Snowy's the only one there trying to get it over. Twister unable to do so, and but the 77 blocks had pressure against them earlier. They've got to worry about it here now. Snowy says, I'm just going to pump the brakes for a second, and punches that one home.
Man, one of my quick binds in Rocket League has to be Savage, because this is the moment forward right there. Again, the mentality of Limitless, unshaken despite the 3 early goals. Snowy with the presence of mind to slow it down for just long enough to send the last scurrying defender backwards. 77 blocks once more tested in terms of how well they can keep their attitudes aligned with their goals. Limitless once more take a lead. Twinza sends it towards the center. He's got Twister in tow as well, who manages to get a 50, bounces off the backboard, but Snowy going to take this confidently and starts once more an aggressive push.
It's going to be Sweaty looking for a pass off the backboard. I think he was looking for the second touch to try and enter in things, or to try and center things back to deny for, but unfortunately with a whiff and back and forth as the pendulum swings around the midfield line. Twinzer not wanting to commit to that, which does get the control back over to Limitless. Snowy with the shot opportunity. That's going to find the net here as well. And now Limitless are up by 2 with just 68 seconds left to play.
Again, 77 blocks having to throw 2 players retreating back at that challenge, and Sweaty pops it up high, gives it a 1v1, and Snowy picks his poison and sends it home to take this 2-goal lead. Suddenly a minute on the clock. The first minute was all that 77 blocks really had in this game, and they've got 1 more minute. Can they turn the momentum back towards their side, get 2 goals against what Limitless is offering? Against an incredibly strong, one of the strongest showings from Limitless that we've seen. Really, their first task is just to get an extended period in this blue half.
For Limitless here, it's been 5 unanswered here in game number 5. See if 77 blocks can try and turn this thing into a game in the final 30 seconds. It's got to start with 1 here on this trip down into the blue half. It's Energizer in the sky, centering it up here for Twister. Has a shot opportunity.
No
Save from Sweaty. Snowy over 1 more incoming offender as well. And that should allow for Sweaty and the squad from Limitless to take this ball, send it to the opposite side, waste enough time. And it's going to be Limitless ending things off here in 5. And even to die for it gets another one for the road.
Even to the last moment, Sweaty faking out oppositions. Tadai going to do a similar job with absolutely no pressure on his time. Slows it down, finds the angle, sends the shot home. And with 77 blocks, renowned for their defensive capabilities, has had absolutely no chance at stopping through there. They've forced themselves into a precarious situation. They've forced themselves to do too much, even when they gave themselves the best lead that they can. And Limitless goes and does not disappoint the panel. They take it in a 4-1, as close to a sweep as you could have ever wanted to, and really solidify themselves as this is our region. You do not come into my home. And they once more, every single game, dominating the shot tally.
And able to just absolutely control those last couple of games as well, though. Let's not forget, after game number 2, we thought we were going to be in for a barn burner of a series, thinking that this might go 6 or 7. But then Limitless just fight and claw. It was a big scoring affair in game number 3. And then here in game number 5, where it thought like 77 blocks were going to have themselves a little bit of life, Limitless able to pump the brakes and end things down here early, gives themselves a little bit of a break so they can sit back and watch who they're going to be facing off against in the grand finals.
And that really didn't feel like a close contest at the end right there. The final 3 games, just a dominant performance from Limitless and finding it in so many ways. But I think the key part here, Greybeard, is how good Limitless looked as a squad. Whether it was going for the demos afterwards to give your teammates something to go for, or the passing plays that they linked together time after time, that 77 blocks just was beaten before they had a chance.
Well, it did look to me like they took that game 2 loss pretty personally, the way they came out swinging in game 3. And Alt, you and I have always said that they are a team, and you even mentioned it during the series, that they do have those slow starts. But it's normally just that first game. If you don't get them in the first game, you don't get them. So I think they were taken a little by surprise in that game 2. But afterward, and look, there were moments, 77 blocks though, in that last game, giving up 7. I beg your pardon, 3 goals, a 3-goal lead. It speaks to the tenacity of this team. And I have to say, I have not seen Limitless look this good in terms of their team dynamic. And it was something you guys touched on, but I've never seen them this good in terms of their link-up play, and it's fabulous to see.
And that makes me excited. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, as I say, they're revved up and ready to go, man. It's been a kind of a slow trek throughout the course of split number 2, right? You had the big shell shock as far as in qualifier number 4. Then they got close in qualifier number 5, but I think they've got their eyes truly set on the prize, which is regaining that crown and being able to call themselves a qualifier champion here in qualifier number 6.
And, the thing is, they've really adapted to what's been asked of them. One of the big criticisms just, 4 weeks ago, was that they're not challenging early enough. There's such a propensity for these import teams to never give you the space. Limitless take advantage of that now in this sort of game. You're going to challenge me? That's fine. I'm not going to hold on to the ball. By the time you get to me, it's already to my teammate on the other side of the field, and you've now put yourself horribly out of position. And then when the opponents start going, okay, we maybe can't throw ourselves so aggressively, what do? They slow it down. They take their time to get the mechanics behind them. To die for with that play off the ceiling was such a good opportunity for that. But they really seem to have diversified their play to an almost an insurmountable level. And it makes me so excited, like I say, for the finals. Because even though Mobula has looked so good throughout the season, this is a Limitless side that I believe can actually take a series.
And there's Ultrazim throwing to the grand final already. There is the small matter of Astronic.
I mean, listen, if Limitless goes against Astronic, I think they're going to be even more excited for that. They just beat them 3-0 in Swiss stage. So, I mean, that's not the target that they're setting. I think they would actually almost prefer Mobula to be there just to be like, you know what? You've beaten us the entire time. This is our last attempt to get our retribution. And today is a day of retribution for Limitless.
Well, I guess there's going to be an interview after the break, so that question can be put to them. Which team would you prefer to see to come up against in the grand final? And the two highlights for me, though, were absolutely. I think early on there were two fantastic air bump plays. One by Sweaty late on, as he put the ball into the center and carried on and removed the defender, and then to die for in game 2, coming out of the goals to remove the goalie, who would no question have had the touch away on the shot coming in from Snowy. So great plays there. And driver of the day, as is always the case, is now open. acgl.gg/vote. Who's your player of the day? Go and vote. We'll announce that at the end. But there we go. Semi-final number 1 done and dusted. Semi-final number 2 still to be played. Astronic versus Mobula. That coming up very shortly after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the RLCS, where we have grabbed a winning Snowy out of Limitless. First of all, GG's and very well played indeed.
Thank you.
So, Snowy, I want to do the last series just in one quick question. It seemed like the start was a bit stop-starting. You had to figure out 77 blocks a little bit. What makes them so awkward to play against, and what then did you change after game 2?
I don't think anything in particular makes them awkward. I mean, they have some like decent mechanical players, and for some bizarre reason, there's always just one of them sitting upfield. So every time the ball like pinches in their net, like pinches toward our half, there's just one guy waiting for it to redirect it. I don't think that's like very planned on their side. But yeah, I mean, we just knew if we play our game, they have high ping, they're not going to win if we just play decent.
I mean, it definitely showed, like, after game 2, you also took a step back. There were a lot more fakes, or did you try to exploit that in any way, or did you not really think about what 77 blocks were doing?
I mean, we know they have high ping, so fakes are pretty useful because generally they have to pre-jump a lot of stuff because they can't react to it. So, I mean, that is an intentional thing. But like I said before, we kind of just like know if we just stick to our game plan, we're just gonna win.
All right, cool. I mean, you got the result. You're in the grand finals now. Speaking of which, Mobula or Astronic are going to come to you. What do you do now in this sort of hour to bridge the gap? Are you just going to stick in free play? Are you going to watch the series? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll probably just free play, maybe eat, take the time to get some food, and yeah, I'll probably watch a little bit of the series, see what's happening there.
And is there a bit of extra motivation? I mean, I think you're probably assuming Mobula is going to win. Is there any extra motivation for you to try to deny them that perfect split?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we obviously want to win the regional, firstly. And I think, yeah, if we stop them from winning again, that's just a nice positive on top of that. I
mean, yeah, and also would be really cool for Worlds preparation as well. I feel like to have that as a final positive note to end the online season on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and just one more thing. I mean, Mobula said they will jump around RLCS regions. They will move to basically every region. What advice would you give the APAC guys, the OCE guys in particular, when Mobula do come to them?
I don't know what advice I would really give them, but yeah. I don't really care what they do. They are not the greatest humans, so yeah, they can leave, they can go wherever. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, so you're okay. Just nothing. Just leave and you're good.
Yeah, they can be the other region's problem if that's what they're claiming.
All right, other region's problem. So thank you. For now, they're your problem for the grand final potentially. But thank you very much for jumping in, and thank you for the interview. And Greybeard, back to you.
All right. Well, here we are. One semi-final down, one more to go. And first order of business is before the start of that series, we got everyone on the desk to give us their player of the season and give their reasons why. And the way it went, to die for got 2 votes out of was it Machtfish and your boy Q? And then Ultrasm, you went for VK Salen. I went for Werty, the Bromeo for Ram, and Sweaty was? Who's the last member? Pyro went for Sweaty. That's right. There you go. And then we asked chat. We put out a poll. And what did chat have to say? And the results are in. And from the top, to die for getting most of the votes. He is the player of the season. Werty coming in second there. I feel like I should have sold it. I should have done more of a sales pitch for Werty, but to die for, absolutely deserving that, and certainly extending the justification for picking him based on the series we've just seen. And now we turn our attention to find the second berth for that grand final. We turn our attention now to SSSA. Spain and Sub-Saharan Africa is our second semi-final. Team Mobula versus Astronic Skill Quest. And again, it feels, Bromeo, like an on-paper situation. Mobula should be taking this. Is there any way that Astronic can find a way to beat them?
Well, look, the last time they went against each other was in Open Qual 4, where Astronic went down 4-2. And that's definitely not a bad showing against a team like Mobula, who has, up until now, had a perfect run. So, look, they've got their work cut out for them. They need to put in the yards. They need to try something different than what they did previously. So, the chance is there. And having a look at the team comparison, you can see that they're not too far off, but Mobula coming in with huge stats.
And you don't need to be too far off. I mean, the higher you go in the game, the margins between the teams, Ultrazim, can be very close, but hugely significant.
I mean, it only needs to be close by 1 goal, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And I mean, here we're dealing with nearly an entire goal per game. The shot tally is not even comparable at that stage. That's not negligible. And I mean, on every other stats, saves being the only one that Astronic is actually coming out on top there. And that's not necessarily a good thing. You're being forced backwards the whole time. And I mean, right now, we've seen how VK, Salen, Rubix, and Lioro are playing. They are able to put on some sublime plays. There's a reason why I put VK Salen as my player of the series, because he has put on a masterclass of what it means to change up your play style mid-game, mid-play, halfway through a movement. This guy is adapting on the fly, and he's always got these guys behind him. Lioro is a redirector of note and able to read that backboard in such a fantastic way. That's not to say that there's not the mechanical skill on the other side. Torres is arguably, by a lot of people, I was looking at the chat earlier, Torres has been loved by people just because of his individual mechanics, and has also got 2 great teammates behind them. They obviously know each other very well as these 2 teams, both coming from Spain. But yeah, those non-negligible stats, I think, are on paper all that it really needs to do. And I don't think, Bromeo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that this Mobula side has actually lost to Astronic ever.
No, they have not. They've only faced each other once in main event, and Mobula came out on that 4-2. But that said, ever since Torres has joined Astronic, they've been a different outfit. And the way that they play is Torres at the back making those hard saves. You can see in the stats, Torres makes more saves than practically the rest of the team combined. So their historical strength is defense, and they're going to have to use it today if they want to stand a shot at toppling Mobula, and that starts with Torres.
I wanted to have a look. I'm going to ask Reggie or Blank to put up the team comparison with all 3 players from each team there, because something I saw there, a player highlighted by Machtfish was Lioro. And I was just looking at his stats. I mean, he has the best stats of his entire team, with the exception of accuracy at the bottom there, but almost of both teams. I think it's only Torres, who was just highlighted, and Berichu getting more saves and a tiny bit more accuracy, but otherwise Lioro killing it in the stats across both teams.
I mean, he's potent for a reason. He is such a good aggressive player there. He's able to put on, pick up at least whatever anyone else is able to put towards him. You know, he sits in that midfield and he's able to just link up, and he's got the mechanics behind him to make it work, whether it's a straight shot after that or a quick response to whatever comes out there. He's one of the fastest players on the field that we get to see. And I mean, his double touches, like I said earlier, off the backboard are something to really train with the aspirations of reaching, as he does work regardless of what situations he's put into.
All right, well, let's get down to the business end. Bromeo once more getting not just getting the result right, but the score right as well. So good going there. So give us your prediction and score, please.
Mobula is going to take it. I don't think there's any doubt there. I don't think any other team has shown that they're going to topple them, especially not Astronic today. I'd give Astronic 2 games in that 7 series, so I'd say it goes to game 6.
All righty, but that's not bad. 4, okay. Ultrazim, more generous than I would have thought, but go. What are your thoughts?
I agree. It is generous. I also put them down for a 4-2, but I think the 2 games for Astronic would be optimistic. I think they will have done well if they can take 2 games off Mobila, because realistically, I wouldn't even be surprised to see this taken down in a sweep.
All right, well, chat definitely agrees. 83% to 17. And I'm going to, every time the desk and chat have been on the same page, we've never been wrong. And just because of that, because I don't base my predictions on anything that makes much sense, but just for that, I want to see a massive upset here. Astronic take it down, limitless Astronic in the final, but it's going to be a hard graft. It's going to go all the way to game 7. But just for the content and the lols, I want this to be clipped and put out on Twitter if they win. But let's see if they can pull it off. It is the Spain derby. Astronic, Team Mobula, both looking to secure their spot in the grand final of Qualifier 6.
Limitless looms in the grand finals, while Mobula wants to go 3 for 3 and make it a perfect online split. In their way, Astronic Skill Quest still have a bone to pick with their Spanish compatriots. An epic fight for the grand finals ensues right here and right now.
Oh, my fish, it's been a fight. It's been a brawl in this cage all season long. But Astronic have only had to deal with Mobula once this entire season. It took 2 games off of them. The desk thinks that would be optimistic this time around. And Mobula want to continue that narrative, starting off strong.
Team Mobula do what Team Mobula do, and that is a score on you. Byrichu not able to get back. It's an easy flick pass from Rubix into VK, and the veteran will make sure that his team and his project stays afloat.
Now, one thing that hadn't been mentioned too much is Mobula are on an undefeated tear here in this regional as they score a second in game number 1. They haven't dropped a single game. Mocked Fish, they don't want to drop a single goal at this point.
It seems like they are truly on a mission. I don't believe at the same time that it was ever achieved that a team goes completely flawless. I think we've seen it once or twice into a grand finals in other regions as well, but Mobula certainly trying to achieve that flawless or that perfection.
Yeah, we'll page a statistician for that one, but for now, we put those aside and we put all of the pressure on the Astronic backline. Mocked 3 goals in no less than 30 seconds. This is looking like it was yesterday against their match against Just Skibbity, but Byrichu too flip resets. And finally, on Astronic's first look at the other side of the field, they look ready to pounce as well.
Yeah, it's the worst possible start here for Astronic. I mean, you're putting pressure on the defense, but the defense just hasn't woken up yet. It's still way too early for them. The Night Owls not coming awake from their slumber. And Mobula, oh my god, they're just moving forward, unrelenting, mercilessly.
Mobula averaged about 6.5 goals in their last match in the quarterfinals against Just Skibbity. They're looking to punch those numbers up against Astronic, a team who has made multiple grand finals this season in SSA. Mobula appear to be the impenetrable barrier this time around.
Well, with an opening minute like that, certainly seems that way, and Leoro is going to put in one more. A flexing of muscles, a sign of utter and complete domination in this opening minute of the series.
This is one of those days, Mockfish, where you open up the game, you're in free play, and every touch is perfect. You're getting double taps to hit the top corner. You're hitting sidewall redirects that land in the net without hitting the ground. Mobula, on every attempt on a read, has been successful, and they feel like they could do no wrong.
Every step, a perfect step here. Out of Mobula in the opening 90 seconds. Astronic struggling. And that chance of the grand finals. It's slowly but surely, if they keep up this sort of performance, it's definitely different. It's definitely flowing away from them.
Well, their entire mentality towards this event has been, okay, hey, we can make the major. VK Salen, double tap, because why not? Again, every play has been nearly perfect. This flip reset double is just nasty. But yeah, Astronic needed Mobula to lose in the quarterfinals for them to have a chance in the major. Now they need to prove that they even had a chance to begin with, and in this game one, they're not stating a great case.
It certainly resembles a bit of G2 versus Dignitas, or for whoever watched that series last night at about 9 p.m. G2 making Dignitas look like a few sticks in the road, but that they just had to drive around, and Mobula doing the same to Astronic.
I don't know. If Dignitas were looking like sticks on the ground, then Astronic looked like grains of sand. This is far beyond what occurred in North America yesterday. This worldly region is showing us the true bounds of Rocket League and how they can continue to be pushed. Astronic, when will that foundation be set?
At this point, game one is lost, right? At this point, you just have game one, you're like, okay, no, we don't come back. We are not going to score 7 in about half a game. It's just about solidification. It's about, okay, let's take a step back. Something just went horribly, horribly wrong, and we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Astronic, 1 goal would certainly help that endeavor. But that 1 goal is not to come here as VK puts up 1, puts up 2nd, gonna get the 3rd demo. No, he cannot. Torres evades, and Torres being the man to put Astronic into safety for now.
Yeah, and they give their team enough time to respawn as well. That's really the only exit strategy you have, is block the ball with enough time to get your team back on the field. You can't fend off a 1v3 for too long. Managed to do it for that length of time, but Mobula seemed to be halted at 7. The Oro could be the difference maker off a pre-jumping VK Salen, and they will be indeed.
I seem to be mistaken. I thought we were in an RLCS semi-final, not in 3v3 rank, but it seems like Mobula don't care where we are. They're just going to pre-jump anyway. It's a beautiful pass. It's a good execution from VK on the end. It's an 8th here for Team Mobula, and oh my god, it's looking nasty. Leoro, can you get the bump on a yellow? No, you cannot.
I know you just spoke to Snowy, and you asked him, okay, what are you doing, between the semifinals and your grand finals? He said, oh, I'll probably eat, I'll play some free play, and I'll probably watch some of this game. What is he thinking as he's watching this pure destruction take place against Astronic? I have to wonder.
I think at this point, if I see this scoreline, I put out the series if I was him, and I was like, okay, yeah, I don't care really anymore. I'm just gonna focus on myself, because on this day, that's probably the best course of action, as Torres gets at least 1 here for Astronic. It's not much, but it's better than being down 8-0.
In order to lay the foundation that we asked for, you have to actually have the materials to set in place. There seems to be a semblance of that now with a goal from Torres, who, during this split, when he started on Astronic, has truly been the difference maker of this team, right? And Yellow and Byrachu worked wonderfully with Mario, but Torres, he's explosive no matter what side of the pitch he's on, so makes sense for him to start things off for the team.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, Torres really is who elevated this Astronic side from, a top 4 contender, or like top 8, sort of top 4 contender, to a definite part of that, and a part that is unthinkable to not be there, right? He just elevated that Astronic team in so many ways, and we've seen it yesterday against 9 Lives as well. The amount of ridiculous goal line saves that Torres was able to gather was just absurd, and it was what in the end broke 9 Lives.
Breaking expectations is VK Salen. How do you read this off the ceiling? Genuinely, the bend of the backboard and the ceiling is just everything that VK Salen needed there. 9-1, 9 seconds from potential double digits on the side of Mobula. Let's see it. 6 now. Leoro, full boost. Flip reset gathered early on, trying to bait in those defenders. He'll flick it almost above them, but waiting patiently for the save was in yellow. 9-1 will be the final score of game number 1 for Mobula.
One of the games of all time of Rocket League has just been cemented here by Mobula and VK Salen. And I mean, points aren't everything, but 1,000 of them, that's a lot.
You gotta turn back the history textbooks of RLCS to see when the last time somebody scored a 1,000-point game in a top 4 Championship Sunday matchup. That is ludicrous. 5 for 6 on the goal scoring as well for VK Salen. And interestingly enough, Mock, what we've said so much about VK and the way that he leads Mobula is actually not the goal scoring. It's all the work he does off the ball. Remember that double demolition? Yeah, we've seen that all split long. He normally sets up the plays, most normally for Leoro, but this time around, he's not afraid to put the goals in as well.
No, and I think we had that debate in one of the pre-shows as well, as what makes this Team Mobula so good and what makes VK such a great in-game leader is the fact that he takes himself off the play, right? He leads by opening pathways. He leads by being the dirty worker, really, for this Mobula offense and letting Rubix and Leoro shine with their incredible dynamic that you have as playmaker and then striker. But right here, yeah, VK... he's like, okay, I've heard you say that about me. Let's not forget, I've won RLCS regionals in Europe. I am still at the very top, and I'm going to show it to you.
Well, he's showing everything and more. Again, 9 goals scored in game number 1. And Astronic keyed in to ensure that doesn't occur once again. No timeout, by the way. It's not typical after a game number 1, of course, in a best of 7, but you'd think with these extremities, anything is possible. At this time in the game, it's a win for them. 30 seconds have passed, and they haven't been scored on yet. VK abandons the ball, but the save is there.
Save is there. Rubix collects. Can he get another touch center? He tries to pinch it with Leoro as VK is being demoed. Has already respawned, however. But Torres now back out of the Dominus and into his trusty Fennec. Will make sure that at least this opening minute goes a lot better for Astronic than it did in the game 1. The shot on target saved by Leoro.
They're registering shots. I mean, there's something to be said for playing a team that's this quick in a full 5 minutes, right? This is why teams are really hellbent on scrimming the right teams before they show up on a main event match. Who have you scrimmed to get yourself prepared and ready to play a team like Mobula? I'm not sure who Astronic played, to be fair. Now that they've got that game 1 under themselves, how can they go toe-to-toe with Mobula?
Especially because Limitless wasn't an option, right? Because Limitless just played before that. You want to scrim the best, and right now Limitless and 77 Blocks, your 2 best options, weren't available. So I'm guessing probably Snakes then or 9 Lives if I was a betting man, it would have warmed these 2 teams up. And can only imagine with how Mobula is playing here, how unpleasant that scrimmage must have been for their opponents. As right here, Rubix is being unpleasant to the Astronic back line.
Beautifully done, though. And you see Torres trying to fly up to that challenge and still not meeting the ball. Mobula taking the ball game to the highest of elevations and succeeding in that effort.
Not cross, but ceiling down. And then just in, Mobula once more take the lead, but Astronic, to their credit, have kept it a lot closer, are now an active participant in the series and not passive bystanders anymore. But still they have to contest with their Herculean task. Leoro is going to get that one up high, flicks it over. Rubix didn't know his teammate was already pre-jumping. So this attack will go awry. Mobula have to try and contest from the midfield again.
That they will. Torres there. VK Salen pass out to Leoro, and he barely has to move a muscle to finish the goal.
1, 2, 3. All of them involved. And Leoro in the end, striker extraordinaire for Mobula. A second goal, a doubling of the lead. And still Astronic with nothing but question marks above their heads. What do they do against this unstoppable force?
I mean, they're dialed in, right? They're nearly flow state. And what can you do to disrupt that may be the question. A goal would certainly help, but they're back on their own goal line once again. Almost the pass comes out. VK is going to try to pick this up. Now they're on the back foot. Astronic, how can you take advantage here? No read. Flip of the ground to the backboard. Instead, it's Torres to take this up. Challenge against Rubix does favor him, but Leora plays it slow with a lead blocker or passing option of VK. And Yellow, with that back pass over to Torres, he'll take his time with this ball, and it's important to establish control if you're Astronic, and double commits are not going to help in that effort. And Yellow gets a piece of it as he tries to get back for a steal.
Now finally, Astronic maybe with a bit more calmness moving forward. No double commits here, and Yellow gets a clean beat into the ceiling. He tries to go for the reset, but just the ball going away from him. A little bit too much momentum here on the side of Yellow, and Mobula able to clear their lines. Leoro outsped. VK, does he have the read? Yes, of course he does today. Everything works, but he doesn't quite get it on target.
Not quite there, not that time around, but certainly another chance will come about. Torres from the backboard says, come on in, I dare you, Mobula. He gets another flip off the backboard just to clear it away. This passing option leads into in Yellow. He's sorting out for the double tap read. Won't find it. Byrachu expends their boost for one touch to the backboard, but VK's already upfield and waiting for the next play on the counter attack. He sends it off the backboard. No read there. And Yellow does see Torres upfield, but he's a bit stalled on the approach. The pass landed in his lap rather than leading him. And Astronic, if they want any hope at leading in this game, they're gonna need a goal now.
Gonna need a goal here now with this counter attack. Torres redirects it further, and Yellow, does he have the read? He does get the touch on it, but the shot lacking power because of his angular momentum. Torres keeping it further forwards, has the infield pass at his disposal, and Yellow for Astronic, halving the lead.
There it is, and maybe this is how Astronic have to play the entire 5 minutes, as if they have to score, baiting in Mobula to try and steal the ball, but creating avenues to cut the lead in half.
Lead cut in half, and now only 20 seconds to find the equalizer. VK, oh, that's a confident challenge, and that's going to be a dagger in the heart of Astronic. Nothing that Torres could have done differently. He tried to outspeed VK, but there was no outspeeding that man here.
I said earlier, it's like, yeah, bait them into stealing the ball. Don't actually let them steal the ball. That's not exactly what I meant there, Astronic. Unfortunately, any ground that they just made up has been covered because Mobula extend their lead back to 2, extend their series lead to 2, halfway today to the grand finals.
A decisive effort from Team Mobula against their compatriots. Absolutely unrelenting, merciless, beating them down. But credit where credit is due, Astronic did have a much more normal performance here in the second game, Byro.
I mean, if you would have told them that they concede 9 goals in game number 1, they wouldn't have believed you. But there it was, before their eyes. They looked like straw men in front of a goal line, just there as fans in the front row to witness the goal scoring of Mobula. But this time they were competitors, and now that they've earned that respect, how far can they take it? The problem for me, Mockfish, is they just don't have a lot to work off of, right? 1 goal in game 1, that is the only goal they scored in game 2. You know for a fact they need much more than a single goal to take a game off of Mobula.
This is a very different Astronic to when they played in Qualifier 4 in the semi-finals, when Astronic was able to take 2 games out of Mobula and looked very, very confident while doing so. And I feel like that ease, that ease and that understanding of Astronic is just gone. Right off with the opening minute, with these first 5 goals that Mobula snuck past them, any sort of confidence that you might have had and thinking, okay, yeah, we can take games off them, we can make this a close series, this will go down to the wire. Mobula was like, nah, it's not. We're just going to have a bit of fun here.
I mean, this isn't a team to hesitate. We're talking about a team whose primary goal scorer is Leoro, the one that should be hesitant because they're on higher ping. But in reality, right, you just got to commit to those plays, and that's exactly what Leroy and this team does. They commit to the excellence. They know they can prove on the pitch as we get right into game number 3. Mobula look to keep that momentum rolling on.
And that commitment is really big for Mobula. And it's a thing that, I mean, doesn't necessarily even have to be secluded to just playing with high ping. And every time you should, even if it's a bad idea, at least commit to it. At least don't sit around thinking, oh, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. At some point, you have to really commit. And that commitment for Mobula today, at least, is absolutely flawless, because not only are they committing, but the ideas on which they are committing are flawless as well.
And VK, most normally committing for the bumps and the demos. He didn't even really have a shot on the net. He just decided, okay, I'm going to take it off the backboard so I can bump some more. There he is with full boost on his opponent's goal line once again. There's the demo. I was waiting to see it on the side of the screen. Finally comes through. That is VK Salen's bread and butter to keep Mobula the disruptive force.
Disruptive, but not as successful as in their earlier endeavors. Astronic able to keep their backline intact. Rubik's gonna meet Torres in the midfield. VK just lobbing it up high. Byrichu there to collect, and Mobula having to work a lot harder now for their goals. But here comes the Oro crossbar. The post saves, but the post will only save you once. VK comes in. The janitor makes it 1-0 for Mobula.
I feel like we're on an episode of Fear Factor. Astronic are here, put in a pile of worms, and they're just squirming, right? The first shot from Leoro, everybody stops and waits and says, okay, who's gonna save this? And because of that, the follow-up is nearly effortless. It's problematic right now for Astronic. They need to get out of this bag of worms and show off their confidence in some way.
There's respect, and there's having too much respect for your opponent, and right now Astronic is being paralyzed by their respect of Team Mobula. They seem a shadow of their usual selves. No one really wanting to go in, no one really wanting to challenge, no one really wanting to put on a fight here against a Mobula side that is playing very well, but it doesn't have to put in all the effort that they maybe expected to be needing to put in.
DK goes for that bump. Leoro ends up being the victim of the bump, knocked into orbit. Wix doesn't matter. He wants to pull the gravitation back towards Astronic's goal line. However, the turnaround is there. Rubix bumps it a bit higher than what Yellow was expecting. Now it's a kerfuffle between the teammates of Astronic. They're not as seamless as they may hope to be, and Yellow on 0 boost just can't catch up to the ball. Rubix beats them all.
Oh, and Yellow 0 boost. If only you could wall dash. If only. Then he would have had the speed to beat Rubik's, but alas, it's not meant to be. Astronic, a bystander here for Team Mobula, just being chaperoned around by their compatriots.
On the leash and moving right along. Off the ceiling, Torres, solid read. Ball to the midfield. Again, 1 goal for Astronic is all they've shown for in each game, and we see now that they need more than that again. I've got to think it has to start sooner rather than later. Torres on his back wall trying to take on 2. Able to get the first save. Byrichu has an option on the sideline, decides to take it along Broadway Street right into the enemy's lap. Torres beaten on the shot chance.
Torres beaten, and Byrichu beaten and strangled by Rubik's long shot out of his own half. Clangs it down the length of the pitch and into the net. Mobula up by 3 in this game, and in about 80 seconds, Pyro up by 3 in the series, I would hazard a guess.
It's getting close to that point. I mean, Astronic, they understand the situation they're in. It's like, all right, let's risk it for the biscuit. Go overcommit just a little bit for this goal. In fact, they're doing that right now. Byrichu, the only one left, couldn't climb to the touch, and there's an open net for a certain span of time there as Torres stops it on their own back wall to save time for the team. It's like there's no saving this game. Byrichu kicks it up for an opponent, and it's right in their arsenal. Rubik scores yet again.
And Rubik's, from playmaker to lethal finisher, especially in this regional, he has been the premier striker, even overtaking Leoro. Sort of role reversal. Rubik's with 2.3 goals per game for the series started. That is just an absurd number of goals that he's scoring.
It's been absurd since this entire event started. I don't even want to talk about the goal differential of the quarterfinals match, let alone this one, as it continues in the absurdity. The crashing of the boards, Stronach just cannot survive it.
It's a tidal wave. And not just one. There's a secondary, a tertiary, and even more coming after. Mobula being as ruthless and as indifferent with their opponents as Mother Nature is to us, mere mortals here on the ground. They are a force. And for the first time, really, the definition of force of nature is going to be applicable and also not over-exaggerated here.
8 seconds here. The finale of game number 3 will see its way out. A great stop there from Rubik's is going to keep that ball stamped on the ground. And a stamp of approval on game number 3 for Team Mobula, taking game number 3. And I will say, Mockfish, there is one difference between today and yesterday, because as Team Mobula were wiping the floor with Straskibity in the quarterfinals matchup, they were all smiles. They were pretty excited. They were pre-jumping, forming clips. They were really happy. Every reaction on the face cam from Mobula today has been light work, no reaction. It's all business today.
It's all business. They just treat this probably as extended warm-up for the grand finals, because they know they can't let themselves be too juvenile and too jovial in their face cams, because Limitless will be a completely different challenge.
And, you know, we're talking about the Limitless opponent of Mobula if they get there, and more about like when they get there, just because of how these games have gone, right? There was a renewed hope in game number 2. Mockfish, the 1-3 score line for a majority of it was hopeful, but we're back down in the trenches, and I feel like that's why we saw now this Stronach timeout that's been called. They want to waver the momentum, maybe back in their favor. Maybe there's some kind of added weight they can put on their side of the seesaw to lean it on their side.
Well, they have to try and use every trick of the book, right? They have to try and use everything that they can at their disposal. And the timeout is just one of those tools that they can use, and to just stop the bleeding, because right now, after 3 games here, Pyro, 15 goals differential between Mobula and Stronach. 15 after 3. You're being outscored on average 5 goals a game.
Again, we're nearing that nearly unprecedented performance of no games lost in a single qualifier. It's amazing so far for Mobula, and they don't want any question marks on this performance. They don't want to say, well, Stronach, they were pretty close in that overtime game. No. Cushion in their lead at all times is the directive of Mobula, and they will continue to pounce, crash the boards, get as many rebounds and stifling pressure onto Stronach as they can to ensure that victory. So even with this timeout, Mockfish, I don't sense a complete switch in the direction of the tempo of this game, but we have 5 minutes to find out exactly where it will go.
And speaking of that flawless run, I don't know, and I'm trying to check in the background as well, if Limitless were even able to achieve that. A flawless regional up until the grand final, because right now that is where Mobula is headed. Rubik's, a masterful pinch. Leoro, quick little 1-2 down. And then it's within 15 seconds, Mobula up again.
And this is what I'm talking about. It's unlimited pressure. A little bit of my issue right now with the Stronach Skill Quest is you actually do have the boost to challenge these plays. There's a certain part where Torres was on the goal line, sitting down with full boost. You've got to jump at these. You have to have the quick challenges that honestly we saw mostly out of 77 blocks against Limitless. This time around, it's just not the same, and Mobula carry out their lead once again.
Torres, it's a good first touch. It's a good idea on the 50 as well, but he doesn't expect Rubix to be cutting in. He was going for that 50-50 against someone that would be coming from in front of him, not from the side, and that's ultimately what broke the camel's back here as Stronic certainly beaten, battered, and bruised.
Torres wanted to be a bit quicker on that touch. Sent down towards Leoro. Gets one tap past one, and VK Salen on his bump spree once again. You'd think at first, Stronic, you just gotta hit the ball, but half of their attention is paid to not getting demoed by VK Salen. They've gotta have a head on their swivel at all times, because the bumps are infinite.
And it's not like VK is the only one imploring of physicality. Leoro being a menace himself. Oh, what a recovery off the side. Well, Byrichu, though, be able to get it out. And, I mean, the motto for Mobula is, we live for the clip. And I think there have been certainly quite a few of them already in this series, and they're trying to supply even more for their supporters.
Oh, they're feeling alive right now if they're living for the clip. They are alive and well. The pulse is beating. And Yellow looking to deny yet another clip for Mobula. VK Salen, one tap towards the center. Byrichu straight to Leoro. That's part of the issue. Just trying to have a red dot heartbeat sensor on these opponents of Mobula is impossible. They're everywhere at all times. Leoro punches one up again. Almost the dunk against Byrichu.
Leoro almost just 1v3ing the amount of times he steals the opponent's boost and then immediately cuts in back in front. He's just entertaining the Astronic backline all by himself, not giving VK and Rubix any sort of fun in the offensive half. But right here, Astronic able to move out once and get a good midfield challenge there in form of Byrichu, but in yellow, lacking boost, still gets a touch on it. VK and Leoro get the clear. Mobula with halftime having come and gone, poised and in prime position to absolutely trounce Astronic's Skill Quest.
Ooh, almost the downwards clear into the goal for Astronic. They're hoping one of these clears is not only a momentary breath of relief from the possession play of Mobula, but will kickstart an advancement towards the net, and that's their best one of the game that rattles off the post and ends up going against them. What do you do at this point if you're Astronic?
Rocket League itself is against you, and I don't know if Rubix needed to touch that. The only reason I say that is it would be absolutely hilarious if the ball just went from your opponent's post and careened into your own net. That would just be this series in a microcosm, really. Everything working for Mobula, nothing for Astronic.
There it is, there it is, there it is. Something working for Astronic. Torres realizes he's got to just about pre-flip any touch into the ball to defeat Mobula. And that's exactly what gives them the advantage on that play, plus a demo for the cherry on the top. 1-3 for Astronic as they look to salvage their efforts.
They look to salvage at least their honor, their pride, after getting clapped for the better part of the past 20 minutes. And Leoro is not going to give it to them that easily. Can he get back to it to find the angle? No, he cannot. Astronic will keep the deficit at 2 for now. Byrichu into the skies goes VK. Reset, but too quick for the ball.
There it is in yellow, back towards the mid. Shot fired away and defended off the crossbar. Astronic holding up a brick wall on their goal line. How long will it stand? In yellow, demo by VK Salen, maybe for the 20th time of the series. Byrichu taking on 2. Leoro, well read on Byrichu's carry out. Dribble denied, and now in yellow, hoping to dribble this into the skies, has boost to work with, and Byrichu to their left. That outlet pass gets defended against. Torres from the ceiling in the backboard. Leoro has the read. Now it's Byrichu towards the net. Rubix finds the outward clear out to VK Salen, who's always pushing up the other side. Rubix, the shot against in yellow. Now is it a 1v1? The chase is on. VK Salen beats him to the ball, and Mobula take back the advantage.
Mobula take it back, but only momentarily as Byrichu looking to latch on that pass of Torres. But no not able to. On the other side, Leoro doesn't need to touch VK's ball. Mobula make clear what we thought was going to happen anyway. They punch their tickets into the grand finals. The grand finals that everyone wants. Mobula playing in their prime against a Limitless that is playing the best we've seen as well.
A lot of people wanted that. Not quite Astronic. They had different hopes and dreams for this event here, and Mobula were set to crush. Terrorizing defeat against Astronic Skill Quest to take them out of this regional, out of the season, and Mobula one step further to a clean sweep of this event. They'll take it in 4.
Mobula in 4, a clean, one of the cleanest sweeps that I think we have ever seen here in the modern era of the RLCS in Sub-Saharan Africa with the 2024 season. Astronic Skill Quest just outpaced, beaten, completely obliterated.
Oh, man. And here come the highlights. I think this is going to be a long highlight reel, Greybeard. What do you think?
Alrighty, well, I don't... well, Mark, first thing I have to say is that when it comes to SSA, we've only ever had a modern era. There hasn't been anything but a modern era in SSA RLCS, so...
No, it's an evolution on the... Like, 2024 is different, though, with all the other aspects. So, this is the modern era V2 for SSA, I feel like.
All right, and so we get the grand final we expected, despite my attempt to cast a curse or to change things up by not having a death sweep. The perfect run for Mobula continues. They are yet to lose a game. If they are to lose games, it is going to have to be in the grand final, but an incredibly competent, solid performance from them does mean that we get a repeat of the qualifier number 5 grand final, Limitless and Team Mobula, and hopefully we're going to get an epic one. If your driver of the day came out of that series, then go and vote for them now. Player of the day, MVP for the day, who's had the most impact out there? Go and vote. We'll announce the winner at the end. But my word, we hope, a banger of a grand final in the very last series of the 2024 season for SSA RLCS coming up next. Are we ready?
Are you ready? That's the question. I think we are ready.
Pyro, you brought it back.
It looks like we're ready, Greybeard. What do you
We
think?
are ready. We are ready.
We are never ready, are we, though? Like, truly.
And this is it. Just like that, we come to the end, the very, very last series, the end of qualifier number 6. We've had 12 weeks of Rocket League RLCS since the end of January this year. It's now the end of May 2024. The curtain is coming to a close, but one more series, best of 7 to get through, and it is the grand final. And in that grand final, we have Team Mabula and Limitless. Limitless staging a fight back. Mabula steaming through with a perfect series so far. Do we get a banger, Muchtfish?
Oh, hopefully so. Hopefully we get one that goes right down to the wire. Hopefully we get one that goes right down to Game 7. Both teams have been playing absolutely fantastically. And I mean, Snowy said as much in his interview earlier that it's a bit of an extra motivation to try and deny a perfect split.
Ultrism, we used to say back when we got to this stage, and it was like, who's going to win this? And the line was always, well, we'd be foolish. Even in the bravado days, when it was really competitive, they had the best of it. And now it's like we're at that place where like, we don't know.
In some ways, that's a relief because it makes for a much more exciting finals. I mean, by this stage, it used to be a foregone conclusion, like you say. But now it's also a little bittersweet because you're going, for a lot of the SSA fans, if Limitless doesn't win, then it's a little bit sad. You know, you've already lost your major spot, but I think now is also a really exciting time because Limitless has been pushed in a way that they've never been pushed before. They've grown in a way that they've never had the opportunity to do before or the motivation to do before, and they've risen to the challenge. Today has been the best showing of Limitless that I've ever seen. So yeah, bittersweet, but for now, is it going to be a hell of a clash? I believe so. I really think that this is going to be the best game of Rocket League that this region has ever seen.
The chat vote has opened up, so you can get your chat vote in there. Hashtag LMT, hashtag MOB. Who takes this down? So far, 72% of the chat are in favor of Mobula, but we just need all the Limitless fans to get here and get their votes in. Muchtfish, we saw a very good performance, an excellent performance from Limitless in their semi-final against 77 Blocks. They were looking really good. I loved how they were going about their business. But seeing Team Mobula and how they took down and deconstructed Astronic in the second semi-final, it does leave the question open. And of course, it's a silly question to ask now because we certainly, whatever you or Ultrism or I say, we're going to get a full comprehensive answer to the question in about 4.5 minutes time. But given the performance of the winning teams in both of the semi-finals, how do you see Team Mobula losing for a start their first game in the entire regional and potentially a series?
It's so difficult because counting Limitless out would be a fool's way of looking at it. Limitless is always going to rise to the occasion. That's what they've always done, and that's what they will continue to do. They are defined by their work ethic, their desire to win, and I don't think that with Mobula it will change anything. Granted, Limitless looked very good. Mobula maybe saw that and was like, we can one up that and look even better still. But what I do believe is it's going to be a completely different series from the dynamic here. Both teams have oozes of ounces and ounces of respect for one another on the pitch as competitors, and I feel like that will show. It's going to be a weird dynamic, a constant tug of war almost here.
I think it really comes down to who takes the offensive. Limitless looks so good when they're the ones determining the pace of the game, when they're the ones controlling the tempo. Not to be ambitious, but their defense has looked a little scattered here and there when they are pushed too hard, when they're not given the freedom to move around and make the beautiful passes. But they've done a good job of solidifying that back line by making the challenges slightly earlier to look after the backboard. And that's something that, Mobula is renowned for is their backboard play. I said it previously before the last series, and they kind of showcased it with aplomb in the game. But right now, there's a reason why these guys are the top shooters, and it's going to be, I think, the key testing point for this Limitless side is how well you're able to deal when you're pushed back.
Is there I wonder if there's from a pressure point of view, you know, we're not coming into this with questions around who's going to the major. That's already done and dusted. That's been concluded. So is there a reduction of pressure for Limitless? I mean, can they go out there with a bit more freedom? They're not chasing it down. Same for Mobula. They're not chasing the spot. It's just about the glory of this grand final. So, and I don't know if that plays a factor. It's beyond a talking point, Alt. I don't know if it's a factor.
Weirdly enough, I think that there is a bit of pressure on Limitless. Yeah, they're not going to get their major spot back, but right now is all about the pride. And Limitless is a very proud side. They definitely are coming in here with all the intent of winning, because without that, then it's a case of our entire region's being snatched away. If they manage to come through here and take the victory, then they set themselves up as we had a job to do, we needed to reclaim our region, and they end off the season with the we are still champions of SSA mentality. So the pressure in terms of the long term, they still have their world spot, and I definitely think that the momentum and their mentality coming out of this as victors would be the most important aspect that they're concentrating on.
All right, well, we come round now to our last desk predictions for the grand final. Machtfish, do you see a comeback, a return victory for Limitless, or will Team Mobula steamroll their way through?
I want one of two things to happen, first and foremost, with the series. Either Mobula absolutely steamroll Limitless and we get the first unbeaten and perfect RLCS regional since winter 2023, or we go down to the wire, or we go to 7. I believe we will have the latter. I believe we will go to 7, but in the end, with how they looked today, I'll give it to Mobula.
Ultrazim.
I'm going to counter that point out. Actually, in the predictions that I put down even yesterday, I knew that this grand finals would be exactly as it is foretold. But I said yesterday that Mobula would take this 4-2. I actually changed my vote before this series started because this is, like I said, the best Limitless has ever looked. And I really believe that if there is a time for them to upset these Spanish side, it would be now. So yeah, I think it's still going to go down to the wire, but I think within game number 7, Limitless is actually going to bring it back.
Down to the wire ×2, but a difference in the result. And I'm glad to see that, Ultrazim. And I know, I mean, look, we all pretty much know where I'm going to be predicting, because I do. So, you know what? If you vote one way all the time, eventually you're going to be right? The law of averages says you've got to be right at least once. So I do think Limitless are going to take it. I also do think it'll go down to the wire. Chat does disagree with us. So between Desk and Chat, we're split down the middle. 34% of Chat believe that Limitless can pull it off, which leaves the remaining 66% saying that Mobula will have the last word and will leave here with three times regional champions before going to London. And now, we come to this moment. And
don't do it, Greybeard. Don't do it. No one wants to see this end.
Can we have another split blast, anyone?
There is no more time, because this is it. We're in the hype chamber. Grand final SSA RLCS qualifier number 6 for the very last time. Team Mobula and Limitless for the final.
For a long time in sub-Saharan Africa, Limitless has been synonymous with championships, at least regionally. But Team Mobula have won the last 2 qualifiers. They've won the battle for the spot for LAN, but the boys in blue look to win the war, reclaim their spot atop the region, and all but secure their spot for Worlds. It's the grand finals for our final qualifier for the #1 tourist destination in RLCS. It's Limitless versus Team Mobula, and for one last time in SSA, let's get down and do what it do.
Hey, Q, here we are for the last time, and it is the high-flying Spaniards versus the pride of SA, Limitless. And here we go. It is a best of 7 Limitless blue side, Team Mobula orange. This is going to be a banger.
This should be a banger, and I know Mox talked about the potential for the first perfect split there, or perfect qualifier that we've seen in a while, but I'm definitely feeling that the Limitless boys have some redemption on their mind. Remember, it was 4-2 last time these two teams squared off in the grand finals for qualifier number 5. Limitless falling just a little bit short. They don't want to do it again. Pass towards the middle here for Snowy. Not going to be able to dial things up. The defense from Team Mobula has been able to hold off the couple of shots that Limitless have been able to put on here early.
Well, Team Mobula once said that Limitless is a defensive side that needs to work on their offense. But if anything said today, they've been working on that hard with some crackers coming in. And let's see if they could turn this around today. Fantastic save there by To Die For with Snowy with the clear.
Still keeping the pressure down here on this orange half for now. VK Sailing going to be able to win the 50. Rubix gets the bump here as well. And his Team Mobula going to be able to get the first goal in game number 1.
That challenge there by To Die For. Snowy almost getting the touch. Sailing it in. And a Team Mobula 1 up after a masterful bump on the goal line. But still plenty of the match to go. Sweaty with the chase. But picked off quickly there. To Die For maintaining possession. Trying to get the shot through to the middle. A nice little touch there. Oh, shot in. Not quite there. Sweaty testing the backboard. And I want to know from you here, Q, is like, what are we looking at here? Are we going to see a battle of the attacks? Are we going to see more of a Limitless defense? What do you reckon?
I feel like if I'm Limitless, I know that I've had to focus in on my defensive end, especially turn the defense into offense. The player that we talked about earlier in the day, To Die For, that's who I'm going to be really looking forward to really help kind of speed up the field. Because I don't know if Limitless can quite play at the speed that Mobula likes to play at, but what they can do, especially in a matchup that's become quite the rivalry here over the last couple of weeks, is maybe catch Team Mobula feeling a little overzealous, a little overconfident, and see if they have the ability to really work that counterattack and catch them with their full 3 all the way pushed up. That's the big focus for them. But I don't think that as far as a half-court game, so to speak, I don't know if they've got what it takes for Mobula yet.
Well, we see To Die For liking to play off the corner. Oh, shot in, and that's another. Liaro hitting that ball sublimely into the top of the net. Very good bump pass there by Rubix. Snowy not getting there in time. And now it is the Spaniards 2 up with halfway to go.
Been able to get themselves to the first half here. And if there's anything that we saw from Team Mobula in their semi-final matchup, is they have no problem continuing to keep the pedal down to the metal, trying to run up the score line here. And I'm sure especially here with a point to prove against the boys in blue. It's going to be Snowy, though, able to push up at the midfield line, tries to get a shot across, and it's Lioro with the save. A pass back to the middle here for Sweaty, who's going to be able to gather the ball, but To Die For already gotten demoed. A counterattack now going to come in for Team Mobula. It's going to be a shot potentially from VK Sailing, but To Die For steps up into the lane.
Die For getting there just in time. Now Snowy with possession in the corner is going to try and play this down. But very well met there by VK Salem, but not out of the woods yet. Challenges, but Lioro with a massive clear. And all of a sudden, pressure on the other side. Shot through. And Rubix scores.
One thing that we had heard the devs talking about earlier when pleading the case for VK Sailing as one of the top performers here for this season was the fact that it's not always just about the offense, but how he enables his teammates as well. They're being able to buy so much space with the Kablamo, a wide open net. That's something that Team Mobula is not going to fail to capitalize on. It's 3-0 here. Minute and 45 seconds left, and they're back into the Limitless half.
Team Mobula definitely coming out with something to prove, something to say. Now with Rubix playing it through the middle, doesn't have the greatest touch, giving it to Sweaty. Sweaty trying to beat, can't quite get there. And it gives them time to set something up here. They've got space in the midfield. Sweaty now trying to play it through, but met by Liaro. Played out now by VK Sailing. He's going to put it through to the middle. Can they get there? Very good touch there by Sweaty.
Nice touch by Sweaty, and Unfortunately for the boys in blue, they haven't been able to get the clear just quite yet. It's going to be VK Salen up in the air. Sweaty's going to have to try and jump up to contend. Not enough boost, though. Over to die for. It's going to be Snowy, the last one left, still being kept in the side of Team Mobula, their offensive half, but to die for has a chance to get it up the sidewall. Not going to be able to get it cleared past the Oro. The pressure from Team Mobula moving downhill from that midfield line keeps them pushed up so far forward in Limitless's zone so much.
When Team Mobula went down victors the last time they met, we emphasized quite heavily on how much Team Mobula controlled the mid-boost shot there by Snowy. One of his trademarks, very quick bang there. But just talking about that mid-boost and how critical it is that Limitless gains some pitch control, because To Die For can only do so much from the back, but from the middle, the options are there. So I reckon if Limitless wants to see this one turn around, pitch control is definitely it. Shot there by Rubix. But, VK Salen making it count on the 3-second mark and pushing their score up 4-0.
4-0 here in game number 1. Trying to make a statement to start things off is Team Mobula. For Limitless, they've been held scoreless through the first 5 minutes. A team that in the past has been so used to being able to have pretty well free will, free range all across the pitch. Hasn't been the case every time they faced up against this Team Mobula squad. And today, no different.
Gotta give kudos to Team Mobula here. Their attack on the counter has been absolutely ruthless, with Lioro leading the charge there with 4 saves. He's the man at the back pushing it forward and coming out as a deserved MVP for that game.
When you're able to stop everything that's getting sent your way, I mean, 4 of the 5 shots. I guess the good news for you, if you're a fan of Limitless, is you're at least being effective with your shots. They're able to find their target, just unfortunately haven't been able to find the lace. For Team Mobula, though, man, you saw not only just making plays in the zone off the pass, but I think the big thing has been the aggression. They had 6 demos in that last game, and on the replays, we see a couple more big bumps that were recorded as well to get some openings as far as for a couple of goals. So if you're Limitless, you got to start pushing back here.
They definitely do. Limitless do fortunately have time on their hands. This is a 7-game series, best of 7, so it is not on the wall yet. It was a rocky start, but they do have a chance to sit now and counter the strategies of the ever-evolving Mobula side, especially Lioro from the back. He's been looking immense, so they need to do a couple of things here. They need to hold on to possession, and they need to get that possession upfield, and only then will they get the go forward that they need now in Game 2.
How many wins does it take to get advanced through a weekend as far as for a qualifier? 21, 18 so far in a row from Team Mobula. Going to see if they can try and make it 19 and put themselves 2 away from completing the perfect qualifier run. It's going to be up to Limitless to try and find some way to flip the script of what we saw in game number 1, because really it was Team Mobula's pitch and Limitless was just playing on it.
Team Mobula now with the possession, playing it against the grain. You see Lioro going all the way back to the Limitless side to steal some boost, but now Snowy playing it against the backboard to die for! Gets the goal that Limitless need. A brilliant setup there, popped by Snowy up against the backboard, and to die for does not miss.
Well, we talked about it in the first series when Limitless takes an L. Usually the thing that they do really well is respond. 37 seconds was all it took to find the lace the first time. The only problem is it's the first time that they've seen it all series. They've got to find some way to build up the confidence. Say, hey, that wasn't just a fluke. That wasn't an accident. We've got what it takes, and it's going to have to be 1 perfect minute of Rocket League at a time. Try and put together a nice solid game as well, because Team Mobula's shown that they've come here to play. They're trying to wrap things up. You can even see with their defense suffocating over towards the net, everything getting sent aside.
I love that play where To Die For, without any boost, is making his way forward, and Lioro is just sitting there on the halfway line boost camping, because that is the tactic. Compete over that mid boost. Now Sweaty with possession, and Rubix is going to contest in the corner, but Sweaty gets the clear ultimately, and now To Die For going to try and chase it a bit to try and get it forward, but Rubix now taking it through, and it's a little bit dangerous. Can Lioro finish it off? But Limitless get it out of jail.
They do, but you'll notice both players that were right underneath that ball, neither of them had any gas in the tank. It's hard to flip the field when you don't have any boost, though. Leora back pass to himself for a second touch here as well, but that buys the space for Limitless to try and move forward. It's going to be Ruix. It's going to be a Kablamo. Slows his attack, slows his approach just a little bit as it's just the two for now. And Team Mobula, anytime that they've seen the Limitless squad in their half, they either limit the time that's down in there or they do a great job of making sure that there's nothing allowed towards the middle.
Gotta say, it's the composure. I mean, watching Leoro take that and then play it up against his backboard while being pressured just shows the confidence that they play with. And it's a rightly earned redirect there, but it's a rightly earned attitude that they've picked up. They are currently perfect in. They haven't lost a game. And they are playing with aplomb at this point, and now almost a double there. It's getting a little tough, but again, Limitless survives.
Good fake from VK Salen, good read from the defense to be able to find Rubix to shut him down, but VK Salen scoops right around and is able to bang this one on home. And we're all tied up here at once. 2 minutes, 14 seconds left on this clock. It's time to see how Limitless can respond.
Mobula Limitless making Team Mobula work for that goal. It ultimately coming down to the 3-minute mark for Mobula to respond. So a much better response from Limitless as the games are tied up. Shot through and Sweaty with the goal. What a fantastic shot there. Salen getting the 50 mid-air, but Sweaty there and waiting. And just flicks it so gently, so beautifully into the bottom right.
Oh, Rubix was coming in for that demo, coming in hot as well. Just wasn't able to close the distance. Sweaty, feeling the heat from the kitchen, I'm sure, able to keep the composure. And that's going to give them a 1-goal lead. To die for trying to move this ball on forward. Sweaty going to follow things up, but Leoro just a step quicker towards the ball. Now looking to flip into this Limitless half. You try to see going for the bump over there in the corner on to die for. However, Team Mobula still keeping the pressure. 1 minute, 45 seconds left for them to try and find a second and at least tie things up.
Sweaty getting another nice touch through, though. To die for getting the vital one. To die for passing it down. Can they get it in? And Snowy! What a turnaround from Limitless. Taking a little while there. To die for receiving the pass in the corner, putting it down to Snowy, who makes no mistake from that distance. What a goal.
A simple yet effective pass there from To Die For to the long-time duo mate to be able to now get a 2-goal lead. A quick wrap around there to be able to turn things around and get back into the offensive side here for Limitless. They've just got to be able to play keep away for 80 seconds, or at least make sure that they don't allow two past their goal line. It starts with a defensive stop here, but Team Mobula slowly and surely walking their way down the field as VK Salen pass over to Rubix. Rubix trying to bang things home, but Stowy able to get the stuff.
Team Mobula not afraid to put through those floaters in very gently with composure, but Sweaty being able to steal that there and buy a little bit more time. They really do need to park the bus on this one. Otherwise, the jig is up. To die for. Putting it through to VK Salen. Snowy being solid as always. And now the contest in midfield heating up. To die for. Putting it through, but VK Salen meets Snowy mid-air. And this is looking promising for Limitless.
Just gotta keep the line here for 30 more seconds, and every big touch that's away from the net, more time continues to dwindle off the clock. 20 seconds here, one more enter into the offensive zone. If you're Team Mobula, you need your first goal here, you need it right now. Quick little flick of the wrist, not gonna be able to find a connection. I'm not sure if that was meant to be a fake or not, but with 10 seconds on left, it looks like we're finally able to pretty well lock it on in, and we're gonna be going to game number 3, the rubber match, all tied up at 1.
Oh, what a game this has been. Sweaty putting it down there for another, but not quite getting there. And this cue is the response Limitless were gonna give all game. They looked in control. And Team Mobula not sure how to respond during the 5, so I'm sure they're gonna spend this next little while figuring things out.
I don't know if I'm pressing the panic button just quite yet if I'm Team Mobula. Yeah, we did see Limitless was able to find some efficiency. They were able to score more on less shots. Team Mobula was still able to kind of pepper the net within their own right. I mean, I know you're a numbers guy, right? I mean, law of averages tells me the more times I shoot, the more times I'm eventually going to be able to find the lace. So maybe just working a couple of those misses out of the way there. But for Limitless, now that you've shown that you're here to play, you've been able to turn this best of 7 now into a best of 5. Kind of get back to that same point we were at heading into game number 1, where it feels like if you can pull off another one, you go back to back for the boys in blue. Now all of a sudden the fans in chat start going crazy. There's life. There's a thought of maybe they can reclaim their throne, right?
Of course, the hope is there. They are supremely confident. Every time Snowy gets in on an interview, he reaffirms just how confident they are. Now, just an interesting point there. The best strikers in this league have a conversion rate, a shooting percentage of late 20s, early 30s, which means 1 in every 3 shots they make goes in. And like you said, the more shots they take, the more likely it is to go in. So by the law of averages, Limitless must shoot. And Mobula, they do every game. And now pressure on the Mobula half, only 12 seconds into the game. And this is the response we've been looking for, but it is tie. This is 1-1. So the countdown starts again.
Let's not get too happy about a win. You've got to get 4 of them things if you're going to call yourself the champion of qualifier number 6. And for Limitless here, winning this series is just all about setting that benchmark for how far Team Mobula are going to have to perform at regional if they want to try and take away the ticket to Worlds. As far as for Sweaty trying to get this ball out of the zone, Rubix has a little bit of a patience there, able to lead things off. The Oro looking for the pass. That's going to find the woodwork, and the 4th defender helping out Limitless.
Limitless survived that. Now to die for getting the clear, but Rubik's reading it. And to die for on the ground. 0 boost though, couldn't get the touch. Now Slowly playing it into the corner, but 2 back. So they're gonna have to set something up here. Sweaty with possession, doesn't try to do anything, lets Limitless reset, but a little bit dangerous there as Rubik's passes it off and Leoro gets a goal.
Oro going to be able to strike first blood in game number 3. Nice little first touch here from Rubik. Second one lining things up to die for. Tries to make a play for it, but isn't quite able to close the gap. And now for Team Mobula, they're back in the driver's seat. A spot that they've been used to quite a bit since they've touched foot here in SSA. And for them, I think they've got a point that they would like to prove, being able to win all 3 qualifiers. And for them, they just want to try and take it 1 game at a time and make it as quick as possible.
Both teams on the pitch here are the king of cool. They are very calm under pressure. Both will back themselves to take this game. Mobula obviously having the rub of the wins, but that won't take anything from the effort that Limitless set to apply as Sweaty returns the favor.
Love this play here. You can see to die for, just jumping the lane, getting the cookies, passing off to Sweaty there, finds a perfect pocket where no one's able to get a hand on it. And we're all tied up at 1. Not even 2 minutes expired off the clock, so Limitless has plenty of time to play with, plenty of time to try and continue to put pressure down onto this Team Mobula squad. But DK Salin has it for now. Talk about a weird little bounce around. Nice little second touchdown from Rubix as well. And Team Mobula quickly regain the lead.
DK Salin passing down to Rubix, who had his protractor out to nab that angle because that was threading the needle there. 2-1 to Mobula now, 3 minutes to go. And it is heating up just fine. To die for, hitting Snowy in a bit of exchange there. To die for, getting the touch through. And it is in the orange half right now. Limitless applying a little bit of pressure here. But VK Salin with the boom on Snowy.
For Team Mobula, they just want to try and hold off the attack from Limitless. Limitless going to have a big, long, booming clear. Actually followed up with Snowy, who's going to be able to get the demo, but not able to keep the control of the ball. To die for, though, out of their corner, has a big pass. I thought they were going to pick up there. Unfortunately, missed it. Would have slowed down this approach here from Limitless. Snowy up in the air to Sweaty. Rain dropping and rain falling down. Was looking for to die for, but as we have seen so often from this Team Mobula squad, their defense on lock.
Wow, this has been a tussle and a half. Limitless applying consistent backboard pressure here, and Mobula not being able to escape just yet. Team Mobula leading on the scoreboard though, so they are looking to keep and respond and playing it through. Look how quickly things change across the field in no time at all, and that is the pace of the counter, and both teams equally adept at exploiting it.
One thing we always talk about is how oftentimes, if we see Limitless have a slow start, it's in games 1 and 2. They seem to be figuring things out here in game number 3. Goal number 2 right there is going to bring us to a tie.
Sweaty doing the most with 0 boost, beating out VK Salen at the back, getting that equalizer in the nick of time. And I love how this game is going back and forth. Each goal, are we going to see a kickoff goal here? A little bit loose in the middle. But Sweaty not being able to maintain the touch there. But a little bit of pressure out here. Rubik's playing the shot in, and this man does not miss. That is some complex geometry being played there off the backboard, and the top of his car to zing it in.
Another one of those plays for Team Mobula where everyone getting involved and able to find the back of the net here. Able to regain the lead as well with just about 90 seconds left to play. Leora moving this ball forward. Another shot coming across from VK Salen. That's going to sail wide. It's Rubik's able to win the 50 there, able to keep the ball moving forward, but to dive for, trying to flip the pitch and flip the script, running right on into Leoro in the corner. Now up in the sky is going to be VK Salen, sending it up to midfield. A touch from Leoro, but should be easily fielded here from Snowy. Has to worry about VK Salen already pushing up into their third, trying to make sure that this press out of their zone takes as much work as possible. A demo I thought might have bought them some space, but really all it does is gives them a little bit more time. A second one coming across here from Rubik's. Snowy, the only one on up, all by themselves. No boost in the tank here, and unfortunately, it's going to get caught to a standstill in the corner.
I love that, Snowy. Is like, come and tackle me if you dare. But on the return, Sweaty gets back just in time. And this game has been everything. It has been dramatic. It has been intense. And currently, Team Mobula needing to survive 3 seconds with that lead. Otherwise, might we even see some overtime? Ooh.
That was close here, but now Limitless going to have to retreat back to the defensive end. You got to find a way to get the control here relatively quick, because 12 seconds is all you got. You got to find a way to get the ball and get things down to the other side. Already getting met by Rubik's up in the air. That's more time off the clock. You can see VK Salen also pushing up into the corner, making sure that nothing gets out of here. Ball finds the ground, and Team Mobula going to go up 2-1.
Oh, what a game. Now, score at 2-1. Mobula reasserting themselves, and the script is set for Limitless to take another one back. They play tit for tat, and if that game is anything to go by, we have a good couple of games ahead of us. Both teams being incredibly enterprising with the way they use their possession, and that battle over mid is just firing up.
Only 4 shots that we saw from Limitless there all came from Sweaty. Able to absolutely stifle To Die For and Snowy, the duo, especially when you think of Snowy, someone who can not only talk the talk but walk the walk. Absolutely stifled here in game number 3. What could have been a big turnaround game for Limitless to try and gain the momentum heading down into the meat and potato games here in the middle of the series. But now instead, Limitless going to be down by 1 game for game number 4. The last thing that you want to do is allow Team Mobula to get themselves on a series point.
It is all on Limitless to make sure that that 2-1 doesn't turn into a 3-1. And you're right about Sweaty. Just the way he has been playing has been fantastic. He has been the fire burner for the side. And take nothing away, To Die For off the corner, off the high, has been playing incredibly well, just as well as Snowy, playing off remarkably little boost. And you saw him there where he was trucking it across the field, all on his bonnet, no fear in his eyes. And Mobula have not come here to play, they have come to win. And seeing their form heading up into this tournament, I've got to give props to Limitless. They've already ended the perfect run, and now they just need to step it up a little bit more if they want to stay in this game.
They've ended the perfect run. And remember, they were able to take 2 from this squad last time. 1 more win allows them to equal that. You would love to see them be able to do that here and then turn this thing into a best of 3. And then I feel like almost all bets would be off. The longer this series goes, I almost feel like the confidence would continue to pick up from the Limitless boys. Hey, we're hanging with them. We have a chance to reclaim our crown. But right now, from playing from behind, it's going to be a really tough position to be in.
Games like this deserve a game 7, so let's see how we go here. Sweaty off the ceiling, nobody at the back. Can they get back in time? No, they cannot. And Sweaty getting there.
Quick response to that goal that we missed just as we were rolling on in here. We do apologize about that, but all tied up here in game number 4 for now. Limitless, a very quick response to what looked like was a quick exclamation point from Team Mobula to start things off.
Well, that goal was so fast, we missed it ourselves. But nothing taking it away. The scores are tie. 1 minute gone on the clock, and almost an errant shot there being missed. But Team Mobula now the ones to defend. 2 beats. Can they make it a third? But Rubik solid as the back, as always.
Sweaty gonna launch a shot on the target, and it's Leoro who's gonna be able to get the save. A little slower to try and get it out of their side, though, as it's to die for pushing forward. Looking for a pinch to try and settle things up more towards the center. No one there to bang it home. A Kablamo, though, to at least slow down this attack. But that ain't stopping VK Sailing. Gets the big boost here, trying to make a play on the side. It's going to be Leoro following that thing up. That's a nice pass towards the center. If Snowy couldn't do anything with it, but up in the sky is VK Sailing. Rubik's as well, reading it like a book. That's going to raindrop, drop top. Something about the flip-flop. Team Mobula going to be up by 2-1.
Raindrop, drip top. I can't. That was just a really, really good goal off the ceiling. And wow, just the way that these responses, you don't see it coming. It is out of the blue. Just the pace that both teams are playing right now on the counter. Rubik's trying his luck off the corner there, but luckily Sweaty there to receive. But the pressure is not done yet. Playing high again and again. Up against the backboard, but to die for there without any boost. Heroic stuff. Snowy with the 50 and returning. Sweaty couldn't quite get there.
Leoro's going to be able to get one demo here to come on back in. It's an attack from Team Mobula. Pass off the backboard to VK Sailing. And Team Mobula strike once again. Going to be up by 2. Here in game number 4, we've only seen 2 minutes and 7 seconds taken off the clock for Limitless. You've got to find a way to hold it on and kind of reel in the reins here.
Limitless know what they're good at, and they need to play by their script. Shot through, kickoff goal there. Rubik's making sure, and that was tough. VK just putting it up against the ceiling, and Rubik's making sure he got a pass to die for. And just like that, Limitless are down by 3. And this is a mountain to climb with half the way through this game. Still to go. They can still get, but they are making life difficult for themselves. To die for making the save, but Leoro getting it in again.
Yeah, Bromeo, this isn't reeling in the reins here for Limitless. This unfortunately quite the opposite. Goals back to back here, and all of a sudden what was a 2-goal lead and looked like somewhat manageable right around that 3-minute mark left in the game. Now you're down by 4, and the frustration has to kick in because it seems like no matter what adjustments are made from Team Limitless, they just seem to find no response, no answer for Mobula.
Mobula with the kickoff goals though, but to dive for out of nowhere bangs it in from the other side of the field, launching from practically his own backboard and just getting across everybody, extending his boost and making sure it goes into the back of the net. That is a classic to die for goal.
It all starts with 1. Can that be the catalyst here for Team Limitless to stop Team Mobula? Why do I keep calling them Team Limitless? I don't know. Probably because I've been saying Team Mobula all day long. But first, for the boys in blue, they've got to find some way to get a couple of those back to back because you only got 2 minutes and 14 seconds left, and you got to do it at least 3 more times just to force an overtime.
It's definitely looking rough because Mobula are just so fast to the back of the net. Before you even know it, it is there. But Snowy playing it up to die for not being able to get the touch. But just watch the counter. They are so fast. They play the miss. And look at that, an errant ball. Snowy gets it back in. And if you remember the Astronic game, they were down 3-0, and they ended up winning that game 6-3. So never write off Limitless, no matter what the score.
I don't know if you've heard it before, but it's one foot in front of the other and eventually be walking out that door. Limitless has been able to climb their way back into this thing, but it's time to start picking up the pace. Team Mob is going to try and enter their way back into the Limitless half here, keep the pressure on down here for now. It's Leoro, a second touch to be able to avoid to die for. Then it's Rubik's in the corner. Good job by Sweaty to be able to prevent anything from going towards the middle here. And for Limitless, you need to find this fourth goal. It feels like it has to be with at least around a minute left on the clock. A pass on up off the backboard, but Snowy not quite there quick enough.
That was juicy and would have been contended for goal of the game, but a shot through there, almost finding its way. VK Salen, but Sweaty on the counter. It's a 2v1, but Rubik's, as dependable as always, at the back. Double commit by Mobula, showing just how much they wanted that ball to go to the other side of the field.
Though going to keep the pressure down here, able to win the 50. That's going to be Rubik's buying a little bit more space with the demo. VK Salen, a second 50, but that pinch sends it far down into the Mobula half. It's going to be Sweaty up in the air, not going to be able to get up quick enough. Snowy going to be able to send one player back to the bench for a couple of minutes to think about what they did. Now it's going to be Limitless trying to slow down this attack. You got to find a way down to the other side. You're running out of time, but VK Salen from the skies is able to take the 2-goal lead and turn it to 3.
Just like that, straight up and hitting an absolute clanger. That was a shot and a half, and all but sealing it for this game. 30 seconds left. The difference is 3 now, and the pressure is on Limitless. And if they don't want to see another point going Mobula's way, they need to score some goals and score them now. But by the way Team Mobula is playing, we might not see it. Leoro going for the double. 15 seconds left on the clock. And they are just playing up and down. Almost getting there.
Yeah, trying to play keep away, trying to play high up in the sky, and every second going to continue to dwindle that clock on down. Zeros now register, ball touching down, and Team Mobula going to put themselves on a serious point. It's going to be up to the boys in blue. They need to win 3 in a row if they want to be called the champions here in qualifier number 6.
Well, the mathematics have been laid, Mr. Q, and Rubik's coming out game MVP there, 750 points. And it's remarkable. We've seen him take so many stops from the back, but they didn't register as any saves, purely because that man gets to it before it's even considered a save by the game. So it's 3 goals, 3 assists, very well-rounded performance there by Rubik's. We use their traditional third, but he's really coming out to play in this series.
100% goal participation from Rubik's there. And if you kind of think back to the last couple of games that Team Mobula have won, I believe they've had a different MVP every single time. Really shows the depth and the strength of this import squad. And I mean, now for them, they are 1 game away. Yeah, unfortunately, the perfect qualifier is off the table, but to be able to say you went the distance and only lost 1 is still just as impressive, and I'm sure they're looking to try and finish things up in game number 5.
Truly impressive indeed. Mobula have just seemed clinical, and clinical is a word used very, very often, but they have been. They went perfect through Swiss, they went perfect through quarters, and only in the final have they dropped a game, and still they are looking imperious. So Limitless has always had their work cut out for them, but don't rule them out just yet. They have come back from behind before, and I have no doubt that they can, but they need to stop giving away the kickoff goals as we head into game number 5.
Almost seems as if the tails have been turned around here. Usually when it's the David versus the Goliath in the SSA region in the past, the story has always been that the Goliath has been Limitless. Now it's going to be the boys in blue looking for the Giganticide here, trying to see if they can take down the giant that has become the Spaniards here from Team Mobula. However, 30 seconds in is all it needs, and Leoro bang! Team Mobula back in the lead.
BK with some aerial finesse, but Leoro just putting it up and finishing it. Even though VK was there, he didn't need to be there, but Leoro's like, no man, I got this. And now with 25 seconds gone, Team Mobula up by 1. The pressure is once again on Limitless to respond.
Limitless have to find some way to respond to. You cannot give them a second goal. Not that quick. Rubik's going to try and slot things into the top right. Not going to be able to find the mark. VK Salem leads it down here. Leora, 1 tap, 2 tap, dropping it on down. And it's going to be Rubik's following things up off the rebound. But Sweaty able to shut it down for now. Trying to leak things out into the other side of the field. But a quick visit. VK Salem looking for Rubik's. Not going to be able to find it here. VK Salem back up off that sidewall. Has the boost, has the flip, has the control. Has it back out to Leora. Unfortunately, not going to be able to find their mark.
Team Mobula all about the clip, and that almost was one. They have been unrelenting, and only now giving Limitless a little bit of space. They retreated back to their post. They allowed it. And as you see here, Leoro coming up strong and fast, and you can almost see if that was part of the plan. They are playing with absolute confidence right now, and you can see that with the touches that VK Salen and Leora have been making. Then they're passing it up, they're passing it down, and they're looking so damn good.
Oh, they just look at like it's poetry in motion. RLCS qualifier grand final. It looks like the homies just hanging out in Discord, vibing with some threes, man. This is something that we're not used to seeing from the boys in blue, getting absolutely dismantled. Rubik's going to be able to try and bang this one home, but to die for out of nowhere like an RKO with the save.
Oh, the heroics on defense have not been missed. Sweaty pulling out a couple as he's forced to do it once more. And just like that, turns it around. It's amazing how quickly they turn defense into attack. They let it, they spring load it. They bring it all the way back to their half. They pull in the first attacker, and then they just escape through their half through Liaro, VK Salen putting it up high, and to die for, sitting at the back with no boost. And just like that, they've counted.
Team Mobula trying to keep the pressure down here on this blue half of the field. All they got to do is continue to dwindle some time if that's what they want to. I think we've all watched this squad and know they probably aren't going to be satisfied with a 1-goal lead, but you know what? Win by 1, win by 5. It's the same result on the scoreline. That's a big old W, and in this case, that would secure the deal for Team Mobula. 3 minutes gone by for Limitless. They have still yet to score a goal. They've got to find something here. They've got to find something now.
Find it now that indeed this is game point to die for, challenging, making sure he gets the mid boost there, popping it over. Now Snowy playing it to the corner, gets the redirect. Again, he get it in, third man, no! Absolute defensive block at the back by Mobula, and they're gonna have to go again now. Snowy trying to get the ground pinch in to die for, taking the shot through. And now Sweaty taking the bang, but what a save by PK Salen.
PK Salen doing it all, setting up the teammates, able to get some saves as well. We've seen him getting some bumps and demos along the way. Kablamo, as we're talking about it there. A pass to the middle of the field, looking for Rubik's. Going to be able to find its mark. It's to die for, pushing forward into the orange half, trying to be a nuisance up here in the corner, followed up by Sweaty. For them, it's got to be all guns blazing. Everyone push forward. You got to find some way to make this Team Mobula squad uncomfortable. And it's Sweaty in the sky, preventing any sort of clear, trying to find some way into the offensive half. But how we've seen so often from Team Mobula, they're just able to flip the pitch.
Snowy, they're doing what he can with no boost, and it might be that VK Salen gets the clear out once again, forcing Limitless back on defense. And with 30 seconds left in this game to go, and almost putting it up to 2-0, this is a tough task now. They need to escape, and they need to do it now. Liara with a demo on Sweaty, but Limitless needs to throw everything in the final 20.
Pass on up, and that's going to be a shot on in, and Rubik's just cooler than the other side of the pillow. Look at this. Flick doesn't need any help with the bump or anything. Just the threat of it being there is enough, and it's going to be a 2-goal lead with 20 seconds left. Possible with the 10-second rule? Sure. Probable? Oh, man, let's hope so. For Limitless, this is your last chance.
Mobula absolutely brutal, taking advantage, but getting the shot in, and to die for responds. 15 seconds left on the clock, and now the lead reduced by 1. They still need 1 to force this into an OT, but wow, can we dream?
They can continue to keep the dream alive. They find themselves the first. They're halfway there, living on a prayer, but only 14 seconds remain. And with VK Salen able to win the kickoff, that's more time taken off the clock. A second touch, a look down with the waterfall touch as well. And for them, they're just playing keep away. They're not trying to keep it on the ground. There's no monkey in the middle. This is more like giraffes in the trees. And right now, Limitless has no way to get the control. Team Mobula just need to get this ball onto the ground to die for it. In the tank, Sweaty has to use the last little bit just to get the control. You can see everyone working on, just pads the fumes of gasoline there, and instead Team Mobula are going to be your champions here in qualifier number 6.
Team Mobula making no mistakes there, ending it as soon as they could. Unfortunately for Limitless, they cannot come out victors today, but they have taken a game off a very good Mobula.
It took a game off them. They were able to prevent the perfect qualifier, but Team Mobula showing that they came to SSA with a point to prove. They wanted to be able to claim their spot for LAN, and they wanted to win 3 straight qualifiers, and they have now done just that.
And it's been an amazing series, a banger of a series, 4-1 scoreline. So on the face of it, dominating, but a fantastic all-around. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And importantly, not a perfect series for Team Mobula, but they will end qualifier number 6 with a 3rd consecutive regional win and bring the season to a close. And there were some really, really good moments there. That game from Limitless in Game 2, Bromeo, was really good. I liked the fight back, and it was close. And even the game that they lost 6-3, there was that moment in the middle where they were sort of down and out, but fighting their way back in. So many good points during that series.
Truly, we're going to be able to look back on these games and find so many teachable lessons from this, because Limitless did not lie down. They came back firing, and they've laid down a template of how to take a game, at the very least, of a very, very good Team Mobula.
No question about that. And and now, look, we're in the hurly-burly of it all right now. There will be some. We'll obviously need to take time over the coming days. The teams, the players, take stock of where we are, where we go into the future. But wow, Q, just like that, it's like done, dusted. It's all over.
The season is done. It's kind of crazy to think about here. And for everybody but Team Mobula, it's going to be quite some time till they play again as far as on an RLCS stage. Even for Limitless, with going to Worlds, they still have to wait a couple of months as well. I think it's going to be really important for these players. You talked about it. Make sure during the offseason you get in the lab. I think this was a really, there were some growing pains this season, particularly in split number 2. But you know what? Anything that's worth being good at, you got to go through some trials and tribulations. The tribulations is really where you're able to find out who's cut from the right type of cloth to be able to stand at the top and be the best representation for SSA. Now you're looking forward to see who steps up to the task of that come next season.
All right, well, let's have a look at what this all means in terms of the major and world races. So we'll have a quick squiz at the scoreboards, or the leaderboards as they stand now. And there you see Team Mobula for major. They are going to London. Astronic comes second, and Limitless and Astronic pretty much tied for second place there. But in terms of major, all irrelevant, Team Mobula going forward. But what this means for Worlds and the calculation, so everybody is aware. So as it stands now, Limitless will go to Worlds in September this year, 92 points. Astronic with 64, Mobula with 50 there. And what this means is that if Mobula finish second place at the major, there will be a tiebreaker against Limitless for that World spot. If Mobula win the major, they will secure their spot for Worlds. So there you go. So barring that miraculous run by Team Mobula, it will be Limitless representing SSA in Worlds at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas in September. As we look back over the course of this last regional, the highlight, standout moments for you, Bromeo?
There's been so many. There's the rise of Snake's Den, Nine Lives, Genesis 6. There's been some interesting moments, some brilliant moments where players like Tishao coming out of nowhere and showing what he's got, rising the level of the scene. And truthfully, as a stats guy, it's raised, the bar has been raised so many times this season alone. And that for me has been such a big positive, because it's very difficult to see it when you're right there in the moment. But when you look back, you look at the numbers, you look at the replays, the growth has been so good.
Well, we have our winners, and we're going to go to an interview, and we're going to be speaking to, I believe, the only player we haven't heard from Team Abulla. We've heard from everyone here. We saw the coach and everybody last week. We've had the sub on, and now we're going to hear from the man playing out of Spain, Leoro.
All right, well, welcome, Leoro, to your first interview on the desk. And first things first, congratulations, your third Grand Finals victory in SSA.
Thank you. How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing all right. It's been a long weekend, but it's been short for you guys. You were undefeated leading into the Grand Finals. No games lost. The only game you lost was game number 2. What were Limitless able to do to take that momentum away and make you lose your first game?
Well, as we know, they're a pretty strong team, the best team in SSA, but I think they can't compare to us, to be honest. We're still much better, even though they played really well at the finals.
Yeah, fair enough. They played really well at the finals, but there were some games where you played even better. Game 4 was nearly obliteration. By the halfway mark, you guys had scored 5 goals. I want to hear from you. What weaknesses were you able to exploit from Limitless in order to run up the scoreline so high?
Well, to be fair, they give us a bunch of space. I don't know why. They respect us a lot. I mean, it's better for us, to be honest, but we were feeling pretty comfortable, and it was really easy, to be honest.
Yeah, the space provided, you take advantage quite well. And Leoro, you were actually number 1 on my SSA's top 10 plays in the last qualifier. The way you shine with your brilliant mechanics are definitely impressive. I want to hear from you, Leoro. What is the number 1 mechanic that you rely on here in this region, in the split, to outplay everybody? What do you think is the greatest strength you bring to the table to your team?
Well, to be honest, I couldn't perform at my highest level this split because I'm pretty sick. But still, I think my best mechanic or my best quality is the speed I have. I pretty much outspeed everyone in the games, and that brings us a lot of benefits.
Especially on the counterattack, especially all of that. Hope you're feeling well, by the way. Great performance despite that, your flu game or flu event, we'll call it. Hey, Leoro, let's talk major. We know the Team Mobula are headed to London, of course. Talk to me. What are you looking forward to most about representing SSA at major number 2?
Well, I think we can make actually a pretty good role. Most of the teams haven't played against us, and to be honest, we don't have anything to lose, and we have a lot to win. So I think we can make a pretty good role and make some upsets.
All right, so I'm starting to hear it already. I wanted to really hear what is the goal of Team Mobula. Of course, I'm hearing that part of it is create some upsets. Is there anything else that you guys are setting out to accomplish with this appearance at the major?
Well, I mean, I think Worlds is pretty much impossible, but we can give it we can give it a go. As I said, we have nothing to lose and a lot to win. So if by a miracle we made top 4, I think, or top 8, we could be able to go to Worlds, but as I already said, pretty much impossible.
It's going to be a little more impossible than that. I got word that you need second place for a tiebreaker. So regardless, as you said, nothing to lose and only some upsets and some experience to gain. Final thing for you, Leoro, is that the floor is yours. You've accomplished it. 3 wins here in SSA. I want to give you the time to thank and direct the fans, whatever you want to say.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all my team because of their performance and all the work that's behind. And also pretty much all the SSA community. They've been everything but, I mean, they've been really thankful. They've been really welcoming to us, and I really appreciate that. And that's pretty much it. I want to thank everyone that supports us, and see you at Major.
All right, Leoro. Well, thank you for your time. Congratulations on your victory today. We'll talk to you soon. Greybeard and the desk, back to you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Iro and Leoro, thank you very much for that. And once again, congratulations on your third consecutive win. And gentlemen, it's going to fall to us very shortly to bring down the curtain. But before we do that, we do have one more driver of the day, one more MVP. Who was the Championship Sunday MVP? Bromeo, I don't know if you had anyone particular in mind.
All of the matches we've seen so far have been really, really good, but it would only be fair to hand it to Leoro himself. He has been immense today.
Yo, boy.
I like the Leoro pick. I do. We just talked to a really good player and somebody who I think's in the running. But I think one thing that we saw really throughout the course of the series, throughout the course of the regional, really since they've touched down in SSA, is how VK Salen has no problems rolling up the sleeves and doing what they need to do best to enable their teammates to be the best versions of themselves, while also being able to perform pretty darn good in his own right. Go ahead and give me VK Salen for my driver of the day.
Well, let's have a look how the votes shook out. Your votes in chat, voting on ACGL's website. And the winner is your driver of the day for Championship Sunday Grand Final is yes? And there you have it, To Die For. You cannot have any kind of tournament where To Die For is involved and keep him out of those top level stats. Also has himself a lot of fans here. To Die For, your final driver of the day for the 2024 season of the Rocket League Championship Series for SSSA. Congratulations, To Die For. And hopefully that'll be a little bit of consolation for the disappointment of losing in the final. I imagine not much, but still recognition for the work that he puts in. And now, gentlemen, we come to the end. And Q, I'm going to start with you for your wrap-up of this season and your parting words.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is, we've gotten to have a little bit of self-reflection over the course of this split. We got to really get put to the test here in SSA, and I think that we have seen the people who do want to really step up to the challenge have been doing so here in the back half of this split. So as much as I know that there have been some growing pains, I think the most exciting thing to look forward to here in Sub-Saharan Africa is the future. So make sure that our players and our competitors, they're getting into the lab, they're putting into the work. They got to reclaim their turf when it comes to next year.
I've got to say, I just got to put it out there. It all began with uncertainty. We didn't know what was going to happen. We had an introduction of foreign teams into this tournament. Nobody knew it was going to happen, and it was a time of adjustment. That's what Major 1 was. But the second major has just shown how quickly and how well people can adapt. And the players that did adapt and the players that did thrive completely surprised me. Because yes, you've got your To Die Fors, your Sweaties and your Snowies who are perennially good. They are fantastic. But it is all the other teams, your Tashaus, your Rams, your Werties. Eliakim had an absolute blinder. There are so many names to mention of players who took the lessons and started studying and started improving immediately. So my season in review is one of, they did so well with the situation that presented themselves, and I'm so proud to have sat here and watched them improve in real time.
We are, despite everything, we cannot forget that SSA Rocket League is in a far better place right now than it was 2.5 years ago. 2 years and about 8 months ago, there was no future for Rocket League in this region other than having a little bit of fun. We're in a great place. And there is more reason now than ever for our young players to be grinding. Our players like Guns, like Snoozy, Declan, Zany, T-Shao, Marnie. There are so many of them who, from my direct observation, are more motivated than ever to stake a claim for their place in Rocket League history. Now is the time. Go out there and do it. Despite everything, we're in a good place, and we will get better and stronger from here without any doubt. And I do want to extend a personal thank you to the horde of people from around the world who have arrived in our region from wherever they are this season to offer their expertise, their advice, their time, their effort, their money, their energy, and there have been a lot of them. People like Dijon, who jumped into a coaching role for Snake's Den, for Nine Lives, Spooks, jumped into the coaching role, LDC for Nexa, and also getting involved with players directly and personally. Even a coach, a German coach, but out of APAC, Pascal, for doing coaching seminars. Julian and Deke from Nine Lives for their interest in the region and wanting to be a part of it. Mega Boom from Jenna 6, Dabs from Snake's Den, and then of course on the global scene, First Touch, T Bates in particular, who has made a real effort to shine a light on SSA, and then smaller podcasts, people like Bucket and Hoosier, who have spoken about SSA, featured SSA, and want to do more. And then there's Speech, I think, who's got a video coming out probably right now as we speak on the region, and then of course Johnny Boy, and even people like Jeff, the owner of Resolve, who's been a voice for SSA. And then coming to the end of this long list of thank yous, the talent who have been here for so long for nothing but the passion until this last split where we saw wonderful support from Blast. All of you who have been here all along, Ultras and Bromeo, Pyro, Mach, your boy Q, Muzz, and then, of course, Blast for getting involved. We have a long list of credits at the end of this. Please watch and see everyone that's been involved, because we haven't even mentioned the admins who keep the show on the road. Noob Slice, Nobody, Jason, Ethan, Chris, Robert, Kelvin, Brandon, and Jake, and all the others. So, for the last time this season, but we will be seeing you again, from me, Greybeard, the Bromeo, yo boy Q, and the boys at the back, Blank, Reggie, and the Peach. That's it from us for 2024. See you soon. We are back.
Ooh, this is nice here.